are having a problem with the police failing to give the parent a full investigation in terms of what happened.
The protesters are planning to march to the Durban Central Police Station, where a memorandum of demands will be handed over. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban CBD.
We move to the capital, where a ballistics expert at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has uncovered why investigations involving firearms often take far longer than expected to conclude. Brigadier Meshach Mkhabela, head of the ballistics section at the South African Police Service, has been testifying before the Commission today. He's told the inquiry that ballistics units in most provinces are severely understaffed, resulting in significant backlogs in the analysis of cartridges and other firearm-related evidence. Alpha Ramushana has more.
The ballistics unit at the South African Police Service's Forensic Laboratory in Pretoria currently operates with only 3 active ballistic analysts. With the current workload, each analyst can process only 200 evidence images per day, while the unit faces a backlog of 28,000 images. Head of SAPS's Ballistic Division, Meshach Mkhabela, says this amounts to over 3 months of backlog in analyzing evidence and issuing ballistic reports.
You may find out we have got images that are on the system not being viewed for more than a year. Ideally, you want to have this process on as it happens, but it's not possible because of this lack of human resource.
Mkhabela says delays in issuing ballistic reports severely impacts the conclusion of many criminal investigations. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
A social worker who assessed self-confessed killer Amberly Hughes has told the Johannesburg High Court that Hughes has a tendency to lie and manipulate people. Joanna Volmarans revealed this during her testimony in the dock today during Hughes' sentencing proceedings. She has been in prison for almost 2 years for the rape and murder of her former partner's child, Nada Jane Chalita. Hughes raped and killed the 4-year-old in 2023 after her father left the child in her care. Ntokozo Khumalo reports.
During proceedings today, the Johannesburg High Court heard that Amberly Hughes' upbringing was filled with many traumatic events. Social worker Johanna Volmarans shared with the court that Hughes' exposure to her late mother's drug abuse and suicidal attempts has affected her behavioral patterns. Hughes, who was found guilty of the murder and rape of the little Nada Jane Chalita, and according to Volmarans, was influenced by her mother's stress management.
Drinking, abusing her, attempting suicide, and later succeeded in suicide. She adapted to her mother's ways of managing stress, and that is to continuously try and commit suicide.
The state has argued during the proceedings that some of the social worker's testimony was bordering hearsay evidence. Ntokozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
The ANC in Ekurhuleni has defended the city's decision to expropriate a privately owned piece of land without compensation, saying the move aims to correct past racial injustices. It's been 6 years since a 34-hectare property was expropriated in Boksburg in the east of Johannesburg, triggering a legal dispute over compensation in what is likely to go down as a defining case on property rights in the country. The city has justified the expropriation by arguing the land has not been used for any economic activity. It says it wants to use the expropriated land to develop social housing. ANC Regional Secretary Jongizizwe Dlabati says the metro is simply implementing the core policies of the organization which leads the current coalition in the country.
Why should the government of the day pay for that particular land if that land can actually be used to benefit the broader masses of our communities in Ekurhuleni?
However, Freedom Front Plus leader Corne Mulder begs to differ.
Yes, it's a laudable idea. Obviously, we need to have property development in terms of creating housing for people that need that we need to do. But quite clearly, this is an attempt by the ANC to bring a test case. And they want to show that property can be expropriated for zero compensation.
And the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority has approved the registration of a new HIV prevention drug, which is taken only twice a year. Lenacapavir is the world's first injectable pre-exposure prophylaxis, otherwise known as PrEP. According to the World Health Organization, lenacapavir is a highly effective alternative option to the daily oral PrEP pills, as the injection only needs to be taken every 6 months. SAPRA spokesperson Yuvan Gandon says safer sex practices are still recommended recommended as a way to prevent HIV in addition to the new prevention drug.
The registration of lenacapavir is a game changer given the high prevalence of HIV in South Africa. This product is the most effective HIV prevention measure thus far.
Gold's trading at $4,047.84 an ounce. The rand at 17.18 to the dollar, at 22.94 to the pound, at exactly 20 to the euro. Brent crude oils at $65.71 a barrel.
In the Calvin LX area, there's still slow-moving traffic on the N3 southbound between the Bacloons Change and London Road due to ongoing roadworks. In Devland, also bumper-to-bumper traffic due to roadworks on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue.
In your sport, Themba Bavuma returns for the Proteas ahead of their test series against India. Pat Cummins ruled out of Ashes opener. And Manchester City's Pep Guardiola not worried as Arsenal pull clear in the Premier League title race.
Look at your weather. It's a cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs between 27 and 29 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. Thousands of protesters are marching through the streets of Durban CBD demanding justice for a family whose son died after falling down a lift shaft.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 8 minutes past 3 on Monday, the 27th of October. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. The Madlanga Commission was set up to lay bare corruption and abusive behavior in our policing system. Much of the evidence so far has focused on individual incidents of, let's call it, dodgy behavior. But today, evidence has been led that lays bare the real consequences of that corruption. The testimony detailing the appalling state of our ballistic capabilities, literally tens of thousands of firearm-related matters that should have been available and moved forward with proper testing, have simply sat there with nothing being done. More on that after 4 o'clock. Some other stories we're doing. Court action against the red meat industry is raising some burning questions about the country's preparedness to deal with foot and mouth disease. It may well shed some light on why you're struggling to afford a decent braai. We'll look into that after 5. Can you imagine life without the internet? I must say, I would struggle, but a series of events has raised this as a real possibility. Duncan McLeod from Tech Central joins us later in the show. And as the G20 draws closer, business leaders in the B20, that's the gathering of economists and business leaders, are starting to wrap up some important conversations. Details on that at 10 to 5. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news, news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and the latest from the markets. The JSE is off to a rough start to the week with the all-share down by around 1,060 points, weaker by close to 1%. Pick and Pay is off by 7%, but most of the other big losers are gold miners. Goldfields down by 7.6%, DRD Gold by nearly 6%, Harmony not doing that well either. On the upside, good gains for Naspers and Process, up by around 3.5%, and for Glencore, up by 3%. As for the rand, not so bad. Our currency is trading at 17.21 against the US dollar. A euro will cost you 20 rand and 3 cents. 22 rand 96 will get you a pound. The oil price is up by 4 cents, with Brent crude trading at $65.08 a barrel. Stephen Curtis joins us with all the details at 25 past 4. We'll have sport with Tolakele Mganga. Maki Mulapo standing by with the very latest news headlines. She'll be available for that at about 3:30. Karabo Chale, keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, you will hear about it here first. If we've missed something, or if there's a detail that we may not have picked up, a point that we might have missed, a stick we might have got the wrong end of, please get in touch. 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. 702 Drive. It's 12 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So lots to talk about, lots to inquire about, and lots to think about when it comes to the thoughts that prompt our conversation. Some of them are fairly random, and I've no idea why we started talking about this, but we did, and it was rather interesting. The story behind the picture you use on WhatsApp, because you're sharing that with all sorts of people you know well, people you perhaps know less well, but you're using that platform to get in touch with them. What's the story behind your WhatsApp picture? I'm just looking at my own phone, and how do I find my own picture? Oh, here we go. I think I can do it. I can do this. Can I do this? Yeah, I'm going to do it. While I do it, Jonathan Fairbairn, you brought this up. Why are we talking about people's WhatsApp pictures?
Well, just looking at your WhatsApp picture now, you have nothing.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
It's blank. It's that.
No wonder I couldn't find it.
Yeah. No,
I couldn't even confirm the blankness. So I've got other pictures. I must put a picture there.
I think it's time.
Yes, yes. I've got a very, very nice picture on my Facebook page.
Okay.
So I'll just use that.
Yeah, you could use that one, or you could put a different one, but I think it's time for you to put a picture there for us. So the reason we got talking about this one, I saw on X, somebody had asked the question, what's the backstory to your profile pic? And many varied responses. But I suppose, you get those people who will update their profile pics basically daily, weekly, monthly.
Yes.
And then also their stories you can put on your profile pic as well. Like, those can sort of multiple pictures, I suppose. So I thought that would be an interesting question to ask this afternoon to our 702 family. So
what's your story?
Well, mine, I've had the same profile pic since June 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And that was after the passing of my mom. And obviously my dad was 6 months before that. So it's basically a group family photo of us out at a restaurant with my fiance.
Oh.
And yeah, I changed it then, and it stayed like that. It's the same pic that it's been since June 2021. So that's my one, and that's the backstory to my profile.
Who took the pic? Because there are 5 people in the pic. There's your sister, there's you, there's your fiance, and there's your late parents, your mom and your dad. Just the waiter, can you snap us, or how did
it? It was.
Yes.
It was actually my sister's birthday that night, and we asked the waiter to take a photo of us. So that's the one that I've got. Yeah.
Lovely pic. So Karabo Chale, I'm just looking at your thing, your pic. Where are you?
Oh yeah, I knew it.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Once
always
profile pic, always a profile pic.
Yeah, no, true that. So my backstory is very simple. I posted the emblem of Orlando Pirates, which is the greatest and the biggest club in Africa. I just love it. So every time, and they playing so well, good football. So every time I just look at my profile picture, it just stamps that I am a real Baganeer.
So you only really changed it recently then, not long ago.
I think about a month ago.
Okay, yeah. But that's that you can't change it now, as we've established. Annalise says, dinner at a lovely Italian restaurant in White River. Thank you, Annalise. Similar to Cabazella. This one here from Nga. He says, I'm a condom advocate. It's part of my work, but also something that I absolutely encourage everyone to do. So my profile picture is a call to action as well as a conversation starter. And Grand Obadiah says, it is just myself, no superfluous pretense, I beg your pardon, just simply me. So the story behind your WhatsApp profile picture, I will get one so I can talk about it. Probably not today, but I hope to catch up with the trend. But please, your story, 072 702 1702, 16 minutes past 3. Let's get the very latest From Out on the Roads, first afternoon traffic report of the week. Set us up gently if you can. Karabo Chale, nothing too harsh, I hope.
Well, not looking too bad, I must say. Otherwise, we still have those roadworks in the Calvin area. That's Calvin Alex area, slowing down traffic. N3 southbound between the Battery Interchange and London Road in Devland. Also, roadworks slowing down traffic on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. If you are traveling towards Soweto, Protea Glen, there's already slow-moving traffic. This is on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in Sunning Hill at Rivonia Road and Vidkop. And if you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
I did receive some of the messages on the WhatsApp, some people who know these top cops telling me what they know about them. And I think what we can do maybe is just do background work behind the scenes. And the last time I interviewed Serge Kabonge, we got an anonymous call from someone who said, by the way, I always see Serge hanging out with Shadrach Sibia at this and this and this hotel. And that's an information that was provided to us anonymously by a listener. And I did then immediately ask Serge about that. And that's when Serge Kabonge confirmed that he's actually close friends with Shadrach Sibia. So I'm always so grateful when some of you who are close to these situations actually contact us to give us additional information, because it actually helps us in trying to get to the truth.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Josie is about to bring the heat. The Discovery Vitality Chicken Run, flavored by Nando's, is happening Saturday, 8 November at 5 p.m. Go 5K or 10K, run, walk, or just soak up that Josie summer air. Not tough enough? Well, if you've ever sprinted for a taxi, dodged potholes, or climbed stairs when the power was out, you know what? Your training has already begun. So go on, grab your crew, lace up, and move Josie forward. Find the Discovery Vitality Chicken Run on racepass.com to enter. The Discovery Vitality Chicken Run, flavored by Nando's. It's a run for everyone.
Huawei Watch GT6 Series, 2025's must-have smartwatch, introducing the king of power. Up to 21 days of unstoppable battery life in a sleek titanium and ceramic design that's as strong as it's stylish. The Trackmaster with 24/7 heart rate tracking, sleep monitoring, advanced health management, and the world's first cycling virtual power feature. Fully compatible with both iOS and Android. Get yours now from just 169 Rand a month over 36 months, or 4,999 Rand at selected retailers. T's and C's apply.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
Hi, I'm Telane, PG Glass Technician. Got a chip on your windscreen? No worries. Our advanced repair technology fixes it with precision. If you don't have insurance, we offer affordable cash deals on high-quality windscreen replacements to keep you safe.
We can also help you claim from your insurance. Plus, you get a lifetime workmanship guarantee. As the natural choice to fix your glass problems, we're the best at what we do. For quality you can trust, call 0860 030303 today.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
20 past 3, I was asking for the story behind the profile picture that you use on WhatsApp. This is lovely from Makhatla. Listen to this. I'm the founder of a children's library in a rural village. So once in a while, I go through the bookshelves to check the conditions of our books. And he says the picture was captured during one of those moments, and I prefer it because it shows me doing what I love. So Makhatla's picture is stunning. There he is, and he's looking at the books. The shelves look absolutely packed with books, and it's just capturing a beautiful moment, and for Makhatla, an important reflection of something he regards as a real mission in his life. One detail missing, Makhatla, if you're willing to and happy to, tell us where the library is, just so we can pay proper tribute to the work you're doing. And well done on that, and do keep it up. Maybe some people might want to get in touch and see if they can send you some extra books. So, yeah, a little more detail, please. Up to you, of course, if you want to share that with us. 21 minutes past 3. Keep those coming. Story behind your WhatsApp profile picture, please. Yeah, we've got some nice ones already. Okay, 21 minutes past 3, as I said.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Terrible tragedy out in Mamelodi over the weekend. The murder of 2 young women, 2 members of the same family, the cousins Tsiamo Muramaga and Baliseng Muramaga, and the killing a particularly brutal one. Investigations well underway. There's a reward put out by the Aubrey Tau Foundation. But to get the latest on this tragic story, Khomotso Modise, very good afternoon to you. What has happened over the course of today? Are the cops making any headway?
Good afternoon, John. So we have been hearing from the police that they are following every lead. However, they haven't come back with any update. I have been staying in touch with them throughout the day, and it seems that they're now working with the Aubrey Tau Foundation, as you mentioned there in your intro. But yes, police say that they continue with their investigation, and they're looking for anyone who may have seen or heard anything from Sunday morning when the two ladies were killed. Both Tsiamo and her cousin Baleseng were found with gunshot wounds in Mamelodi Extension 17. It's Mamelodi East, and it seems they'd come from an establishment somewhere from a party, and then they were killed in Mamelodi, where they both live. So yes, police currently, there is no update yet. However, they are saying that they are pursuing those perpetrators.
Yeah, it's an awful event, and the community must be in a state of shock because at the moment, do you get a sense that everyone around them is as baffled by this as, certainly I wouldn't necessarily want to describe the police as baffled, but with any degree of disrespect or criticism. But I think the police are themselves saying, well, okay, we got to figure this out. It's not obvious, is it?
No, absolutely, John. I mean, the brutality here is something that the community is speaking about, as well as the Aubrey Tau Foundation. I've been speaking to Aubrey Tau this afternoon, John, to just find out about this reward that he's put out, the 250,000 rand. That's R250,000 that he's put out for anyone who has, any information on this crime. And what he says is that when he heard this, he just felt this is not right.
Yes.
And it should never be okay or allowed that young women who went out to have a good time, wanted to enjoy themselves, they're young people, and their only crime really, so to speak, was just going out to have a party.
Yes.
And so I think, his view and his sentiment really encapsulates what the community is feeling, that, people should be allowed to go out and have a good time without fearing for their lives. And so that's the sentiment, really, why people would want to kill these two young ladies who are merely just living their lives.
Yeah, it's a tragic story, and if you live out in the community of Mamelodi, maybe you, and I'm not expecting that people would necessarily know the whys or anything in regard to this matter, but clearly when this kind of thing happens in a community, it really does create a level of disturbance and a level of discomfort and upset that would affect many people. And does it change your views, by the way, on whether you would go out? Perhaps you've got teenage daughters or young people in their early 20s, the way that Tsiamo and Baleseng were. It really must be a matter of great upset and disturbance in Mamelodi. So if you want to share anything in that regard with us, please do.
Yeah, and maybe I should just mention, John, that the Aubrey Tau Foundation is saying they've already been receiving calls. People have already started coming forward to say they heard something, they saw something. So that's a really good sign. It seems the community of Mamelodi is coming together on this, and they are calling for anyone who may have heard or seen anything that might lead to an arrest to come forward immediately.
Yeah, I suppose, though, Khomotso, one of the complicating things of a reward is that, some people will say, oh, there's a reward, let me see, and they become focused on that, and then information starts flooding in.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the work that then it becomes the task or the duty of the police,
Yes.
to compare what's being said by the people that are coming forward with the evidence, any evidence really that they have. And I do think that, with this, it's a really difficult one because there isn't a lot in terms of what we're hearing in terms of evidence. But the young ladies did have gunshot wounds. I suppose the next step would be finding out whether the bullets were on the scene and whether those can form part of evidence. But the police will have to corroborate and compare what the informers or what the people that are coming forward are saying and what the evidence says on the ground.
Well, of course, what you do with cartridges or any other ballistic evidence is you then put that into the system. What we've been hearing about the ballistic testing system at the Madlanga Commission and its absolute gutting of resources, both in terms of money, but also in terms of people. I think there's a backlog of more than 100,000 weapons-related, investigations that have still not been completely processed. Just a last thing, Khomotso, what do we know about these young women? Is there anything, I'm never comfortable just talking about people as yet another crime, and you do try to give them some kind of human characteristics that people might identify with or relate to. Is there anything that's emerged yet about who Tsiamo and Baliseng were and what kind of footprint they left in the short lives they had?
Yes, Dr. John, I've been hearing that, I've been reading a lot of reports just from what the families have been saying, and these do seem like young girls that had dreams and ambitions, one of them wanting to pursue a career in beauty and another also wanting to pursue higher education.
Yes.
So it does seem as though these were people that had their lives in order and they wanted to make something of themselves. I saw a video of one of the relatives speaking about how she just had one of the ladies do her makeup,
Yes.
just earlier that day before, the tragedy struck. So these are young people that had lives, that had ambitions,
Yes.
that wanted to succeed in life and become something, make something of themselves. And I suppose that is what makes the story so tragic. I mean, it's the fact that they had moved already. They were pretty young, 21 and 22, but they had already moved in together, wanted to start a life, it seems as though that they were rather independent from what I'm reading and what I'm seeing. And yes, I mean, what we're hearing from the community in Mamelodi is that this is a great loss to the community.
It absolutely is, and our condolences do go out to members of the Muramaga family and to people who knew Tsiamo and Baliseng.
Yeah. In fact, John, I should say right now, I just received confirmation from police that there has been an arrest made. The text just came in now. A
Okay.
38-year-old man arrested today in connection with 2 counts of murder and attempted murder for the 2 ladies. We will be asking more questions to police around that attempted murder charge. But yes, that a message has just come in right now as we speak in Dr. John with confirmation from police that an arrest has been made.
Well, that's good news, and obviously regular updates in the news bulletins, news headlines on the half-hour bulletins at the top. And if you need to come back and tell us more, Khomotso Modise keeping an eye on that story for us, part of the EWN team feeding news into 702 Afternoon Drive. Let's just remind you of, I mentioned earlier, the information and evidence emerging at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry about the parlous state of our police ballistic labs. Dr. Guy Lamb, crime and policing expert from Stellenbosch University, joining us to give us his take on how things reach this state. That's coming up at about 12 minutes past 4.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
702 landed. Talking about WhatsApp pictures, I've got a picture that I've taken in Graskop at the cableway. I don't know if it's called the cableway. Yeah, but where you take a lift down to that little forest. And I've taken a picture there with the writing that says, "Into the forest I go to feed my mind and find my soul." So it's been my picture forever, and I just love it. It just speaks to me as a person that loves nature. So yeah, that's my story with my WhatsApp picture. Nice show as always, Dr. John. Rara here in Kempton Park. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, John. It's Pat here from Sprayview. Yeah, my profile picture on the Facebook, Google, WhatsApp, yeah, and elsewhere. It's me next to my backyard home, fit because I am a weightlifter. So yeah, looking good up there and healthy. So I love it. But I changed my pictures that people should see as I age as well. So I cannot be putting my picture of the last 10 years now. It has to go with the age as well, I think.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because my picture is from earlier in my life. So, but Lerato, you spoke there in that voice note. Thank you for that, about looking good. And Lerato says, "I'm one of those that changes their profile picture every time I feel beautiful. This was last week because I feel like my hair is at its best in a long time." Then adds, "Generally, the picture is either me or my kids or me and my late best friend. Keep those coming, your WhatsApp profile picture and the story behind it. 29 minutes to 4. Okay, we need to catch up with the very latest eyewitness news. Marky Molapo, good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The South African Police Service's head of ballistics, Brigadier Meshach Mkhabela, has revealed that his department is critically understaffed. Mkhabela, an SAPS ballistics expert, is testifying before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today, which is investigating allegations of corruption within the police service and the judiciary. He's been providing evidence on how the murder weapons used in the killing of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart were linked to other high-profile assassinations. His department analyzed the cartridges recovered from the scene of Armand Swart's murder, whose company exposed how a firm linked to Katiso KT Molefe fraudulently secured a Transnet contract. Mkhabela says the SAPS ballistics unit is currently functioning with only 3 ballistic analysts.
Other members resign or they go for greener pastures, they leave, we don't replace them. So eventually we end up in this environment where we are, where we have so limited members that can work on the system.
Do I understand your response to mean that at some point you did have enough numbers, but that the numbers dwindled with time?
That is correct, Commissioners.
The Cradock 4 inquest into the murders of anti-apartheid activists has been adjourned until March next year. Proceedings in the inquest into the 1985 deaths of the Cradock 4, Matthew Goniwe, Fort Kalata, Sicelo Mhlauli and Sparrow Mkhonto, wrapped up on Friday after sitting for 2 weeks in the Eastern Cape High Court in Gqeberha. The reopened inquest was set up to establish if apartheid security branch police or any other persons can be held liable for the deaths of some anti-apartheid activists.
The latest session featured testimony from several former apartheid-era officials. Among them was former Deputy Education Minister Sam de Beer, who confirmed that activist Matthew Goniwe had been labelled an enemy of the state by the apartheid security forces. Former intelligence operative Craig Williamson also appeared before the inquest, denying any involvement in the planning or execution of the murders. Former security police officer Isak Engelbrecht also denied direct involvement in the killings, but conceded to knowing of broader security operations during that period. Former Vlakpas commander and notorious apartheid assassin Eugene de Kock is yet to appear before the inquest after being hospitalized due to possible heart failure. Nokukhanya Mtambo, Eyewitness News.
And chair of the Nelson Mandela Foundation and former International Relations Minister Naledi Pandor says South Africa will continue to advocate for justice for the Palestinian people as diplomats intensify calls for a long-lasting solution to the war in the Middle East. Pandor made the repeated calls at the 23rd Annual Nelson Mandela Lecture at the Sandton Convention Centre over the weekend. During her address, Pandor reflected on leadership and global cooperation. She says the failure to stop Israel's attacks on the Gaza Strip has exposed the shortcomings of international legal system.
The genocide we've seen since October 2023 is worse than any other conflict that we've seen in recent years. And we felt that government and the people of South Africa could not be silent in the face of such an onslaught.
United Nations Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese joined Pandor on stage, doubling down on the message.
The occupation must end. So what is to be done is to ensure that Israel withdraws its troops and then offer reparations to the Palestinians for 57 years of occupation.
A look at your weather. It's a cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs between 27 and 29 degrees.
Calvin, Alex area traffic remains sluggish. This is on the N3 South between the Between Change and London Road due to ongoing roadworks. Devland also roadworks slowing down traffic on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Protea Lane bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558.
The top story in Eyewitness News, the South African Police Service's head of ballistics, Brigadier Meshach Mkhabela, has revealed that his department is critically understaffed.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings, 4
to 6.
Christian Friends of Israeli Communities and Christians for Israel USA. It's a USA-based entity that was serving civil papers on Francesca Albanese in South Africa. Surely that shouldn't be allowed?
It's not up to a person that institutes civil legal proceedings against another person in another country to simply just serve those same papers.
Benedict Piri is our legal expert. He's also the managing director of Jurisprudentia Special Counsel.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
"702 Drive" regularly hears something about the work being done by the Dis-Chem Foundation. And in the course of that, on every Wednesdays when we do it, we get to meet remarkable people who have often had their own challenges and then come back in the face of that to do some remarkable things. That's definitely going to be the case this Wednesday. And the person we're going to speak to has looked cancer in the eye and says as a result of that, they came to see the world rather differently. This Wednesday, we'll hear how breast cancer survivor and head of outreach at the Holy Rosary School, Yvette Bibis, is turning her journey into purpose. She's raising awareness about the importance of young people who can't afford reading glasses actually getting access to them. And with the support of the Dis-Chem Foundation, that message is reaching further than ever before. We're going to hear more about that on Afternoon Drive this Wednesday. And as you think about listening to that, just remember, every swipe of your Dis-Chem Better Rewards card supports this and other amazing initiatives across the country. The Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts. On 702.
Mr. Govender, congrats on the retirement. You just sold your car to We Buy Cars. Tell us about it.
Yes, it just gathered dust in the garage, so I exchanged it for cold hard cash. Now my wife and I can enjoy a stress-free retirement.
Retiring the car as you retire. Nice. So why We Buy Cars?
It was so quick. They came over to our house to do the evaluation, and we sold it the same day. Tops, man.
Okay, so now you got even more time on your hands, eh?
Exactly.
We Buy Cars. Geared for your next chapter. Geared for you.
Naked people smell expensive because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums and more money on fancy French colognes with names they can't pronounce. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start smelling like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
702. WhatsApp John.
On 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon. The profile picture for my WhatsApp, my family reckons, is the best family photo ever, and it just happens to be the one where my head is hidden under a bell in Thailand. Gotta love family. Always good to know they love you lots. Thanks, guys.
Hi, John. This is my new profile pic of me. I'm a little kid, clearly with a camera taking a photograph of my parents who are taking a photograph of me. It was a really long time ago. I've recently changed it to that, just for a change. I've had a more current one. I change it probably about once a year, maybe once every 6 months. Sarah from How to Be a Sport.
John, I'm so happy that the arrest has been made in the matter of the two ladies from Mamelodi. But now the problem is, if this guy is found guilty, let me tell you, he's gonna get 3 warm meals. He's not gonna experience load shedding or load reduction. And maybe he might come out there with a PhD, hey? So don't you think it's high time now that the government must be strict? The Department of Correctional Service must be strict, hey? And I'm telling you, it's in South Africa to kill a person. You know that you're gonna live lavishly. Thank you, Staru from Deep Roof.
Thanks for that. And I did ask earlier about how people in Mamelodi feel in the aftermath of such a brutal killing. And Pule says, I have a daughter in her teens and I've been living in the township. It's scary. Things are really getting out of hand. And Pule concludes by saying, I wish strength to their families. 19 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Good news on the sporting front. Themba Bavuma fit again, and boy, do we always do well when he's both in the batting lineup and captaining the team. That and the rest of the sport. Tola Kele, good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And he'll skipper the Proteas in their 2-test series against India next month. Shukri Conrad has ex-Pranil Subnarayan and David Benningham from his 15-man squad, which includes 3 frontline spinners in Keshaf Maharaj, Simon Harmer and Suran Mutsansamy.
I think we're in a fortunate position that we can pick horses for courses. The guys that did duty in Pakistan in the test matches have shown what they're capable of, and a case can be made for all of them to be reselected. And the reason why they got selected ahead of David was because I feel that in these conditions they'll be more effective. Doesn't mean that it's the end of the road for David.
At the same time, India's Sheraz Iyer has undergone treatment in hospital after suffering a lacerated spleen while taking a catch against Australia last week. He remains hospitalised in Sydney, and it's not clear when he could return to action. For Australia, they'll be without captain Pat Cummins for the first Ashes test against England, with Steve Smith set to lead the side. Cummins has been suffering with a back injury but has returned to bowling in the nets. The Baggy Greens are optimistic he'll be available for the second clash, which starts on the 4th of December. Switching over to the curling knockout, where Golden Arrows and Richards Bay have advanced to the semi-finals following their wins over TS Galaxy and Durban City respectively. In the CAF Champions League, Mamelodi Sundowns are through to the group stages after a 7-1 aggregate win over Remo Stars, while Orlando Pirates lost out on penalties to St. Eloi Lubobo. In the Confed Cup, both Stellenbosch and Kaizer Chiefs are through to the pool stages. Cedric Kaze's side found their scoring boots as they ran out 3-1 aggregate winners over Simba.
I'm very optimistic because we know what we have to do. We know that in football you need to score goals when you create so many opportunities, and we're gonna build from the momentum from this performance, because as well today wasn't only the goals, but even the performance was quite good.
And Pep Guardiola insists that Manchester City are not panicking despite falling 6 points behind Premier League leaders Arsenal. That follows a 1-0 defeat to Aston Villa. The loss is a third away one to Villa, while the Gunners edged past Crystal Palace by the same scoreline. That's to extend their advantage at the top.
Our job is not to sit towards the table. If they win all the games and they win the Premier League, congratulate them. So we can do. But I had to feel that the team is alive, the team is good. I don't know how many teams can play here and play the way we played, with the courage, the possession and chances and concede less and expecting goals and all these kind of things. Is that we have to be stable with that, and after that, of course, we have to read little details better. But I don't live in October, November thinking, what is going to happen if we don't win the Premier League.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's give you the very latest from the roads. Karabo Chale, Devland. Whereabouts? What's wrong?
Yeah, Devland heading into El Dorado Park. We have those roadworks causing delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Protea Lane also bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. Calvin Alex area heading towards Germiston, traffic heavily backed up on the N3 southbound between the Butlu Interchange and London Road due to ongoing roadworks. And also look out for faulty traffic lights in the Sunning Hill area at Rivonia Road and Witkoppen. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's coming up for 3:45. We've been asking you about your profile picture on WhatsApp and how you chose it. Tolakele, I'm looking at yours. Very nice look, kind of very thoughtful. And the shirt, I can't see all of it, but it's white and looks like it says New York. Am I right?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so the story, please. We have a sense of the pic.
I do a solo vacation or a vacation every year for my birthday, and this was the last picture I took ahead of like the day itself, and then I sent it to my close family to say this is the official picture that they can post to wish me happy birthday. So it's the last picture of my previous birthday year.
Okay, and you said you do a solo vacation.
Yes,
And where did you go at the time of this?
This year I went to Nazna.
Okay, lovely.
It was a recommendation from a friend of mine, and I was just like, you know what, I just need 3 days to breathe, try something new, and it was fantastic.
Okay, so the New York on the shirt had no bearing on the destination.
That shirt, I actually bought it, I think, ahead of a game that we had gone to, because there's a specific outfit combo that I had in my mind. And the minute that I saw that top, I was like, okay, it works with this whole outfit. And then on Saturday, I saw someone else wearing that same shirt, and I got a little annoyed because I was like, why are you buying my top?
Yeah, other people will buy the things that we buy. Quick one, who took the pic?
Oh, I took the picture.
Okay.
John, it was a solo location, so it means I
Yes.
took my picture.
No, but you might have said to somebody, hey, do you mind taking my pic? Thank you. Okay, so other stories. Tiani says, I only change my profile picture once a year when I upload my son's birthday cake. Lovely. Sue says, my profile pic is always of my dogs. They're so adorable, and even through my picture, they keep me safe. Okay. Mo says, yin and yang. I love yin and yang. I love the best of them. Yeah, what else? Profile pictures. Please do keep them coming on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Chico says, I just like the older version of me. I'm 41 now, and I like this picture. It will be there for months, I am sure. 702 Drive. It's 13 minutes to 4.
So my profile picture is a picture of myself and my siblings. There's 5 of us all together, but everyone's based in different parts of the world. So we kind of we only all get together at the same time, probably once every 3 to 4 years. So I never changed my profile picture until we're all back together again, and then we take a picture together, almost in the same sort of order in terms of where we're standing, and it's just nice to measure, how things have changed and kind of keep a timeline. So this is now, I think, the 5th time I've changed it, the picture with the siblings, and yeah, I keep those photos as well just to keep that timeline. But yeah, that's it for me.
Lovely story. Ian sent me this. My love for nature and the animals in the wild makes me happy. That barely does justice to a quite extraordinary picture. In the background is the South African bushveld, those very low acacia trees, beautiful setting. There is a giraffe in the one corner of the picture. It looks like the one giraffe is kind of photobombing the main picture, which is the head of another giraffe. And the giraffe appears, and I don't know if this is a trick of the camera or if it actually happened. Ian, you may want to follow up with some backstory. A picture of a giraffe seemingly kissing a young man who looks like he's in a Game Guides outfit, khaki, on the top of his head. It is a fabulous picture, but I figure there's one more little piece of the story. Ian, thank you for that, and thank you everybody else. Your profile pictures on WhatsApp. What is the pic and what's the story behind it? 072 702 1702. 11 minutes now to 4.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Well, a crucially important matter playing out in Ekurhuleni. So far, at the moment, it is the subject of mediation, but it could, of course, go out in court. At issue is a piece of land in the Driefontein area of Boksburg. The city of Ekurhuleni decided to take these 34 hectares of privately owned land, and they did so without offering to pay a single cent by way of compensation. The mediation is underway. If it doesn't succeed, there'll be a trial in the Gauteng High Court in February. Alpha Ramashwana is keeping a close eye on things and joins us now from the EWN team, of course. Alpha, very good afternoon. What's happened so far? I mean, people outside of the mediation are making their comments about what they do or don't believe to be fair. Do we know what's come out of the process so far inside?
No, certainly not. And we're not going to know anything at this moment until at least Friday, because it actually starts on Friday. And if they fail to reach an agreement, then it will go to the High Court in Gauteng. But I think the main question here is whether the South African Constitution does permit land expropriation without compensation. Really, that is what the city of Ekurhuleni and the owners of the land, Business Venture Investments 900, are arguing over, whether there is a legislation and a law in South Africa that permits the municipality or government at large to expropriate any land with nil compensation. And after reading the court papers, the city of Ekurhuleni argues that the nil compensation offer is just and equitable. They are arguing that the land has not generated any commercial or economic activity over the past 30 years and that there's no need to offer compensation in that regard. The company, on the other hand, says they want 30 million rand in compensation. They purchased the land from a related entity in 2005, and it wasn't at market value, but it was an internal transfer, and that's why it was such a low cost, 1 million rand. It's a 34-hectare piece of land. In 2025, the owners of the land say that that land is worth about 30 million rand at least, and so compensation needs to be market value. And they are not necessarily challenging the expropriation part, but they are challenging the offer of nil compensation. They argue also that there is no law that permits expropriation without compensation. You would remember that the Expropriation Act of 2024 does permit expropriation without compensation, but that law is not yet enforced. It's still under litigation. And so that's what we're going to be seeing in court, testing the limits of Section 25 of the Constitution.
So is the mediation done and it's failed, or is there more mediation conversation still to come before they go to court?
There's certainly going to be more. I mean, this expropriation case started in 2019.
Okay.
And they are still in court undergoing litigation. And this week they decided, let's focus on out of a court-directed mediation. And if we fail to reach an agreement in this mediation, we'll go to court. So it's going to take the entire week. We're not going to have any outcome, at least until Friday. And if there's no agreement, then it goes to the Gauteng High Court for trial for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it's certainly still going to take quite a lot. The city of Ekurhuleni is adamant that they don't want to offer any money. And the owners want 30 million rand, so it's unlikely that they're going to reach an agreement this week. And then the limits of the law will be tested in court.
Probably from there it could well find its way through the Supreme Court of Appeal and all the way to the Constitutional Court. But Alpha, what do we know about the land? I mean, if I've understood you correctly, the city of Ekurhuleni is saying there's been no substantial economic activity on the land. It's, in their view, unproductive. Is it land that's lying unused, unvacant? Has it been improved in any way? What do we know about that?
So Business Venture Investments 900, which is the company, the private company that owns the land, purchased it in 2005 from a related entity for 1 million rand. And it hasn't been used at all since they purchased it. They merely fenced it and had plans of developing some sort of housing developments on that land, but it didn't happen. The municipality, on the other hand, wants to use that land for housing development. So they want to build social housing. And they say that is the reason for expropriation. You would remember that the law says expropriation of any property can happen if it's in the public interest or for public purposes. And the city of Ekurhuleni is using the latter, saying that it's for public purposes. They want to build social development, social housing rather, for people who don't have housing or access to housing in the municipality. And that's why they expropriated that land. So far, that is what we know about that property. But the owners argue that they did make an application of some sort to use that land. It was zoned for agriculture, agricultural use, but nothing ever happened. But they did say they did make an application to the municipality to formally use that land, but they never got a response. So it's such a complex case.
Yeah,
and
it is.
These are all factors that need to be considered in court, whether to side with the city or the owners of the land. But very, very complex. The city wants to use it for social housing development while the land itself is zoned for agricultural use.
And just finally, I mean, where is this land? Is it, for example, social housing is one thing, but one of the issues that constantly gets raised with new housing developments is what kind of access do people have either to transport networks or to potential places of work, access to shops or malls or whatever. I mean, I don't know that part of of Ekurhuleni at all. But is the land well located against those measures?
Certainly, very, very well located. In fact, I was looking at, just a few minutes ago, looking at a Google Earth image which shows you an aerial view of the entire place. It's in Driefontein in Boksburg, not too far from the Tambo Memorial Hospital. If you remember the Tambo Memorial Hospital, it's right where that 2022 Boksburg explosion happened.
Yes.
Within close proximity to that scene and the Tambo Memorial Hospital. So really it's at the center of Boksburg, along a highway, along other communities, along malls and everything. So for housing development, social housing, it would be very convenient for the people who would live there. The argument that the city has been making is that the land in contemporary South Africa in 2025 is not well situated for agricultural use.
Yes,
so that's one of the
indeed.
arguments that they're making, that it's in the middle of many communities, a hospital, houses, and families. So they argue that it's only best to put more housing on that land.
Fascinating case, and an important one at that. Alpha Ramashwana keeping an eye on the mediation. Doesn't sound like much will be said from behind the closed doors, but where news breaks, Alpha will be on it. He'll share it with us. It's 3 minutes to 4.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Morgan Maumella's 52 million rand hypercar. Can you imagine spending 52 million rand on a car? And that actually happened after Babita Deokaran was killed. So can you imagine the psychology of somebody who sees Babita Deokaran being killed and then thinks, I'm going to take all of the money, allegedly, that was looted and spend it on a 52 million rand hypercar. It's just wild.
The Midday Report,
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra celebrates its 25th anniversary with its spring symphony season, opening with a special gala concert jointly performed by the Johannesburg and KZN Philharmonic Orchestras. Concerts run from the 30th of October until the 20th of November at 7:30 p.m. each Thursday evening at the Linda Auditorium. Don't miss these memorable live performances featuring world-renowned conductors and soloists. Book your tickets through Quicket.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing, and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for plumbers, electricians, and other tradesmen. Pumlani.
Switching to Outsurance was one of the best decisions that we've ever made. We needed business cover over 15 million. Outsurance came forth for us. At Kani, we sleep better at night, knowing that we always get something out of Outsurance.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. 702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. Good afternoon. John and the team is Veronica from Spraidview. The profile picture I've got is my granddaughter welcoming her sister at the hospital. So she was just not even a day old, the same day when she was born. So it's a great picture. I love it. The sister turned 2 months yesterday. So happy 2 months, baby. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that sounds lovely, lovely indeed. The internet. What would we all do if the internet suffered any kind of serious collapse? You would think that's very unlikely, given that the internet is made up of so many different component parts. If the one doesn't work, the other is bound to stay up and keep us online. However, it is that interconnectedness that some people are suggesting could be at the root of a potential problem. A Big Bang style problem coming down the tracks when we least expected. We'll find out more about that. All of this prompted by some developments in the United States that raised these questions. Editor at Tech Central, Duncan McLeod, is our guest, and we'll talk about that with him at about 5:10. It's 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Breakthrough arrest in Mamelodi double murder and NPA confident in legal bid against Omotoso. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. We begin with news just in. A 38-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the murder of two girls in Mamelodi, west of Pretoria at the weekend. Siamo and Baliseng Moramaga were found shot dead in Mamelodi East in the early hours of Sunday morning after a night out. Police have revealed that a third victim was also shot during the incident but survived. Khumuza Modise has more.
The 38-year-old suspect has been charged with 2 counts of murder for allegedly killing Baliseng and Tiamo Moramaga, who are 21 and 22 years old respectively. It's understood the man was arrested by detectives from Gauteng's violent crime unit at a petrol station in Pretoria. Police say while only 2 women were found on the scene, further investigation has revealed that a third victim was also shot during the incident and is receiving medical attention. The suspect, who also faces a charge of attempted murder, will appear in the Mamelodi Magistrates Court on Wednesday. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
The National Prosecuting Authority remains confident in its appeal bid against Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotosho. This after the Gqeberha High Court in the Eastern Cape reserved judgment today in the case related to the acquittal of Omotosho and his co-accused. During arguments in court, the state claims that clearing the televangelist of over 60 charges, including rape, human trafficking and racketeering, was an error in judgment. Meanwhile, the defense maintains the NPA's application misinterpreted the main judgment and failed to meet procedural requirements. The matter now rests with the court, which will decide whether the case can be referred to the Supreme Court of Appeal. Chairperson of Parliament's Higher Education Committee, Tebogo Letsiye, says the recent protests at the University of Fort Hare could have been avoided. He has slammed the University Council for not consulting widely enough on governance matters, such as the extension of the Vice-Chancellor's contract, which in part sparked the protests. At a briefing in Parliament today, Letsiye said while he does not condone the extensive damage caused by protests earlier this month, the University Council must shoulder some of the blame. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Following an oversight visit of the committee last week, Chairperson Tebogo Letsiye says the university must take responsibility for the delay in calling elections of the Student Representative Council. Letsiye says the committee is also not satisfied with explanations it received to extend the contract of Sakela Balungu as Vice-Chancellor beyond retirement age, and says an independent legal opinion must be sought.
We don't think they've executed their duties well as council and management, and therefore we then ask the minister to consider appointing an independent assessor.
Letsiye says the University Council must also take responsibility for the protest.
Somebody must be held accountable. You can't lose infrastructure of 300 million based on in our view, the decisions that we have taken or not taken.
Letsiye says student safety concerns are valid, and the committee's oversight visit has revealed that the university is not adequately secured. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Freedom Front Plus has warned that the city of Ekurhuleni's ongoing attempt to expropriate privately owned land without compensation could paint South Africa in a bad light, affecting the country's international reputation. The city and a company called Business Ventures Investments 900 are currently locked in a legal battle over the Metro's decision to expropriate a 34-hectare piece of land in Boksburg in the east of Johannesburg. The company says it's not opposing the expropriation itself, but rather the city's decision to offer no compensation for the property. Some political parties argue that the move is unlawful. Freedom Front Plus leader Corne Mulder says he believes the city should offer a market-related settlement if it wishes to proceed with the expropriation.
I can just imagine what the United States' reaction would be when one of the conditions for normal relations and the normal trade deal is that there cannot be expropriation without compensation. I've got a property. If they come along and take my house, does anyone think I will just say, well, take my house? No, I won't.
And in Central Africa, former Cameroon government minister Issa Chiroma Bakary has rejected the election outcome that secured Paul Biya an eighth presidential term. 92-year-old Biya was re-elected with 53.7% of the vote in the country, while his challenger Chiroma Bakary came second with 35.2%. Today, the Constitutional Council declared Biya as the winner of the heavily disputed elections, making his the world's oldest head of state. After having claimed victory against Biya 2 days after the October 12th election, even calling for demonstrations, Chiroma quickly denounced the announcement of Biya's win. Gold's trading at $4,007.82 an ounce. The rand's at 17.23 to the dollar, at 22.98 to the pound, at 20.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $66.13 a barrel.
In Calvin, LX area, traffic heavily backed up on the N3 southbound between the Bacloons Change and London Road due to ongoing roadworks, while in Fountains, Pretoria, accident seen on Christina de Wit. This is near Euphius Road, causing delays all the way from the Fountain Circle, and in Hermanstad, leaving the Pretoria CBD traffic sluggish on Eskiam Patlele between Wormhagen and the R80.
In your sport, Themba Bavuma returns for the Proteas ahead of their test series against India. Pat Cummins ruled out of Ashes opener. And Manchester City's Pep Guardiola not worried as Arsenal pull clear in the Premier League title race. A look at your weather. A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected tomorrow. Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 15 degrees and peak at highs of 26. Pretoria is at 18 and 27. Vereeniging is also at lows of 18, reaching highs of 28 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. A 38-year-old man has been arrested in connection to the murder of 2 girls in Mamelodi, west of Pretoria at the weekend.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 7 minutes past 4. How was your weekend? Did anyone take part in the Ride Joburg cycle race? If you did, how was your ride? Now, my only contact with it, actually, I was going off to ride somewhere else. But because of the road closures, I had to drive up the M1 North and take a wide circular route to get to the place where I cycle, which is off-road. Enough about that. But what I did, and this is my contact with the race, was driving up the M1 North. I was driving alongside all the people who were cycling northwards on what is usually the M1 South. And it really was a fabulous sight, and it made me just feel, there's so many difficult things about the city of Johannesburg, so many things that frustrate me. But Joburg can put on a show, and Sunday really was a show. Here's a question, though. I saw a lot of people wearing clothing, and some of them outfits that did not look to me suitable for a long cycle on a hot day, but not my business, patterned as white and black cows. Is this a thing? And what is that thing all about? If you were wearing one of those, I have to say you look great, but I just wondered what the reason for that is. But any thoughts on the ride? Was it well organized? Did your own ride go well? Please get in touch. It's not a ride I've done. Maybe I'll have to do it next year. Why didn't we make it a bit earlier, though, in the year? Man, it was hot yesterday. Anyway, your ride, not mine. Your thoughts, not mine. So send them, please, to 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. Still to come on the show, we're going to look at what appears to be evidence of the absolutely parlous state of our ballistics investigation system. This is coming up in the course of testimony before the Madlanga Commission from Mishak Mkabela, Brigadier Mishak Mkabela, who's a very senior person in the system, and he's cataloguing a situation where there are literally tens of thousands of investigations either not yet begun or not yet completed. In a country that has this level of gun-related violent crime, not just murder, but armed robbery, rape, and other appalling crimes in our society, the ballistic system does not appear to be working anywhere near the way it should be working. And much of this, I get this strong impression, is due to human neglect. But we'll get some expert insight into that shortly when we talk to policing expert from Stellenbosch University, Dr. Guy Lamb, is my guess for that. A lot of you have been sharing with us the story behind your WhatsApp profile picture, some lovely ones. Please do keep those coming on 072 702 1702. And make sure that we're able to see the picture that you're talking about. WhatsApp voice notes and text messages to the same number. If you want to call and chat, well, you can do that on 011 883 0702, 10 past 4.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Hi, Bro John. This is MD in Pretoria. My profile picture is the flag of Palestine, because I really stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people and what they are going through. It reminds me as a South African what we went through apartheid. So I believe they need our support, what they're going through in Palestine.
My profile picture always is Miles Davis, my favorite trumpeter. Miles from Kempton Park.
Yeah, thanks for those. Now, a couple of people, Pumeza says, just me and my daughter, my pride, nothing more. Lovely picture of Pumeza and a really cute kid in a pink jacket. Nice one. And Joan says, I wish people would just have a picture of themselves. It is, after all, just a profile with which you can be identified, not your dogs or kids. I can't imagine having any view at all about what other people should have on their profile picture. But yeah, there you go. That's Joan's view. What else? We've just got a few more. Oh, Fern, thank you. Explaining the cows. The cows, she puts in inverted commas, humans in cow pattern clothing, right to raise money for CHOC, childhood cancer research. I probably should have known that. Thank you, Fern. She goes on to say it's a wonderful organization, been around for many years, and the cows are regularly part of the race. So, again, I mean, if you were riding to raise money for that cause or any other, maybe, on your story about how Sunday went, you might want to add that. Please drop me a note. It would be great to hear about how much money you raised and what difference it makes to you, not just to ride, obviously, as a celebration of all the kilometers you've put in preparing and your own fitness and sense of your health, but does it give you an extra bit of pedal power, the fact that you're riding for a cause? I'd love to hear about that too. 072 702 1702, 13 past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Delays out in Kelvin. Let's get you through them if we possibly can. Here's your guide, Karabo.
Yeah, that's driving through Alex. Traffic remains heavily backed up. N3 southbound between the Bethlehems Change and London Road due to ongoing roadworks. In Tembisa, traveling towards Centurion, there's a slow-moving traffic on the N1 northbound approaching Olifantsfontein Road, while in Devlin, roadwork still causing delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Protea Glen, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. In the city of Tshwane, there's an accident scene in Fountains on Christina de Wit. This is near Euphias, causing heavy delays all the way from the Fountain Circle. Hermanstad, leaving the Pretoria CBD, there's also slow-moving traffic on Eskiam Pahlele between Vormhagen and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
So where would you say parents could be doing better to really not just help the ecosystem of raising this child, but also help with the teaching, especially because parents are busier now?
Very.
They aren't sitting. If you're lucky, you have an au pair who is fully dedicated, but it's still not you, the parent.
First, you sign a code of conduct at the school, right? With the school rules for children and how it's going to work, or the policies, how the day runs, the subjects. You do sign and agree that when you come to a school, uphold your commitment. Even if your child's messed up, uphold the commitment. Don't challenge the school on that boundary.
Alison Scott, Executive Principal at Bella Vista School.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Study your law degree at Regenesis Law School in Sandton or online and build a successful future with leading multinational corporations or launch your own legal practice. A Regenesis Law degree is profoundly transformational, shaping intellectually sharp, fearless warriors of justice and purpose-driven lawyers. Regenesis is Africa's fastest-growing education institution with 1,000 multinational clients across 12 countries and a faculty of 100 industry experts. Enroll now for your law degree at Regenesis Law School at law.regenesis.net.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Ha, guys, you must know your till slip is gonna get even longer. That new discount better rewards card gets you 10% off instantly. Hey, but now, on top of that discount, you get an extra 5% off on over 140 brands. Just hand in your script or shop from the pharmacy. With 15% off instantly at the till. Your discount till slip never looked better. How nice, man.
It's happening right now. Swiper by Absa Rewards and 702 could make you win big. All you have to do is shout "swiped" and lock in up to 25,000 Rand cash. And if you're an active Absa Rewards member, you'll win a 5,000 Rand bonus and go into the draw for a brand new JQ J5 Vortex plus 3 months of premium car insurance from Absa Insurance. Send hashtag Absa Swiper Rewards to 067 384 0022 and 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa could call you next. Your story matters. Absa. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T&Cs available at primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
17 minutes past 4. Now, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and the parallel process down in Parliament with the ad hoc committee set up there was, I think many people were expecting, going to lay bare issues of corruption and malfeasance within the criminal justice system. And clearly that's what they've been setting about doing. That said, it is an important day at the Madlanga Commission, because what we're hearing, although there is as well an investigation or certainly a line of inquiry that suggests there may have been malfeasance in the handling of certain ballistic evidence. But what this has laid bare is the absolutely parlous state of our ballistic system. And given the high level of gun-related crime in this country, armed robbery, attempted murder, hijacking, the list is a long one. The extent to which the system, I don't know if you can say, is on the point of collapse. I don't think it is as yet, but it is not in any state at all to deliver the investigative output that it absolutely should. So when people ask, well, that case has never really got to court, or it got to court, but it had to be postponed, we are beginning to understand exactly why. Testifying is Brigadier Mishak Mkabela, who's been very articulate on many of these issues. And I just want to read you one quote before I welcome one guest. He talks about a storeroom where they are keeping firearms that could be exhibits in court cases, but are certainly crucial to investigations. And he says, at any given point, I have more than 29,000 firearms. And with each of those firearms, a victim has been killed. The firearms are in storage because the work being done to analyze them and put them through the various systems to derive evidence, but also leads perhaps in either a particular crime or its connection to other crimes, they're sitting there. And he said his case commander came to him and said, I don't know where to put them anymore. I have run out of space to put these guns. I'm thinking of putting them in a bin. And he concludes that particular point. He made many others, did Brigadier Mkabela. I only have 42 analysts to handle that volume of work. Problems like this don't take shape overnight. They build and build and build over many, many years of neglect. So let's find out how we reached this point. Dr. Guy Lamb is a crime and policing expert from the Stellenbosch University. Dr. Lamb, welcome and thanks very much for your time. I guess as someone who doesn't follow these matters anywhere nearly as closely as you do, what I'm hearing is shocking me, although not necessarily surprising me. But I mean, what do you make of all of this? Has this been, as I suggested, a problem that's been taking shape over a long period? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon to the listeners. And yes, indeed. I mean, it is shocking. But I mean, it really is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, because here you have someone who's really competent, who is a ballistics expert and ballistics specialist, talking to a problem around, caseload and the amount of kind of ballistic tests and kind of forensic analysis that needs to happen in order to kind of keep the wheels of justice going. I've been privy to data looking at conviction rates around firearms-related offences, and that's really where the shocking things lie. I mean, the police haven't published it, so I was shown it, obviously, where I can't repeat it, but they're incredibly low. And this is very worrying because in the case of firearms crime, the police would apprehend someone with a firearm, they don't have a license for it, or they apprehend someone with ammunition, they don't have a license for it. I mean, this is they have the evidence. They should be a slam dunk conviction, but it's not happening. And it's got to do really with the kind of system breaking down. And I think that's what we're talking about here. It's become a very kind of complicated process. There isn't enough resources that are allocated to it. So, I mean, we're having a conversation about the value, for example, of the political killings task team, which cost, more than 400 million rand over a period of, since 2019, compared to where we really need resources to tackle this issue of the gun scourge. So that's the one thing. So that's one part of the kind of criminal justice system that's just not working. It's a sense of too many people are getting away with crime because many of these cases then, don't go to court or they constantly get deferred. So some of, the perpetrators of these crimes then get released and they go and perpetrate crime again. So it's an ongoing problem. I mean, the issue here is the police are doing very good work in terms of confiscating illegal firearms, but then they get stuck in the kind of in this bottleneck.
Right.
And so this is where we are at the moment, where, so much gun crime, the criminal justice system is not coping.
I mean, one piece of information that came out that's extraordinary. So there's the testing of the weapons, and then there's something which we bought at considerable cost, but sounds like a wonderful system. It's called the Integrated Ballistics Information System. According to Brigadier Mkabela, Dr. Lamb, in 24 hours, they can link guns seized in a crime to other crimes. This is the analytical tool they have. The problem is they need analysts to do analytical work. It's not a simple matter of running a program. There's expertise that's required. They need 66 of these IBIS analysts. They've got 33. How did that happen? Because Brigadier Mkabela said, well, we were able to advertise for 8 jobs, and then HR red tape stepped in and said, oh, well, the job descriptions may not be right, and they're excluding certain people. You don't know whether somebody's working an angle because they want to make sure someone not qualified gets the position, or it may well just be a deep-rooted apathy and incompetence. It could be a toxic mixture of both. I don't know what your take is.
I mean, there's definitely kind of a sense of apathy and a lack of prioritization. So we're looking here at kind of ballistics fingerprinting and testing, and the system is very good that they have. But it is this problem of not having the technical expertise, but also having a very kind of cumbersome criminal justice system. But if we look at firearms as a whole, we've had a very serious problem with similar proportions as being within the Central Firearm Registry, where the sort of electronic system has been cumbersome, has been ineffective. The building they've been in, so this is the organization within SAPS that's responsible for firearm licensing and making decisions on firearm licenses and keeping an eye on who the license holders are, what weapons have been stolen. They're responsible for managing, designated firearm officers at police stations, and that system has kind of also become overwhelmed. So I think it's more the system around it hasn't been prioritized by SAPS management. It hasn't certainly got the attention and prestige that the political killings task team has, for example. And so the police seem to not be prioritizing something that is essential to combating crime.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that they talk about is the immense amount of time it takes for things to happen. So this system, the IBIS, costs us 3.8 million rand a month to run. I would assume those are license fees. I think it was developed in the United States. The IBIS system could do its work in 24 hours, but Brigadier Mkabela says it can take up to 3 months for a cartridge to be digitally scanned so that they can actually feed it into IBIS to actually do some of this work. I mean, if this thing doesn't get fixed, Dr. Lamb, I would have thought our resolution of crime rates and our effective prosecution levels simply cannot move. They can't move in any positive direction if things don't work at such a fundamental level. Am I being overly pessimistic? I'd love you to say yes.
Well, I mean, this is so critical. It's around there are internal issues that could be fixed, requiring the political will and the right kind of leadership to do it. I mean, we are seeing some positive developments here. So there's been a lot of, discussion since earlier in the year when we had this big police summit, and the private sector has really put up its hand and said, how can we help? So, for example, you've got all the banking systems that are coming in to try and relieve a lot of the admin pressure and try to streamline many policing systems and processes and the whole digitization.
Right.
So something around firearms would certainly be a really good intervention the private sector could help with to deal with all these inefficiencies and cumbersome systems. Because, they have the technology and they're willing to put the money in. So I could see this certainly as something they could do.
Thank you very much to Dr. Guy Lamb joining us from Stellenbosch University. Next time you hear a representative of the criminal justice system saying, well, we'd love to do more, but we do not have the resources, bear in mind this number, 600 million rand. That was what was spent in 2021 on a dodgy PPE contract by the South African Police Services. There's money. There's money for all sorts of things. Doesn't appear to be sufficient amounts of money to do the essential work. How do we deal with crime if you've got a ballistics system that is absolutely stretched for resources in the way that it is? Still in the witness stand, I think, for the rest of today. But if you haven't, go online and just listen to some of what Brigadier Mishak Mkabela has been saying about the work that he and his team are trying to get done. It's absolutely heartbreaking. 27 minutes past 4.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
The work of Francesca Albanese has made her an enemy of those who advocate for Israel's right to wage a war on Gaza. The Italian human rights lawyer is facing a defamation suit from the Christian Friends of Israeli Communities and Christians for Israel USA, whose attorneys applied through the Justice Department to serve her with legal papers for a defamation suit they have launched against her in the United States. But Justice Minister Mameloko Kubai yesterday hastily sought to defuse a potential diplomatic debacle, saying she did not approve an application to serve Albanese and retracted the permission granted by a Justice Ministry official.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Prime Media, South Africa's most trusted media group, presents Prime Impact, a free 1-hour business seminar running daily at the Prime Media offices in Sandton from 3 to 7 November. Learn how radio and digital can reach your target market and grow your business with more customers. Every registered business receives a tailored demo ad and a simple campaign plan, plus access to event-only package opportunities. Seats are limited, so secure your spot now. Register at primeimpact.co.za. That's primeimpact.co.za.
Welcome to the brand new days. Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply. Welcome to the brand new days.
Naked people always get dessert. Because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums, they've got more money for Mulva pudding, or cheesecake, or both. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start treating yourself like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Looking for real ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with the people making real change. So catch Green Tip of the Week every Tuesday on Afternoon Drive with me, John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m., only on 702. Proudly brought to you by Volvo. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you. Seems tough out there on the markets. What's the latest?
It's because peace is breaking out between the US and China, John, and that's pushing gold prices down. I think at least one of the factors behind it. The ore share is down 1.34 on the JSE at 108,967. Financials down 1.1%. Industrials up 1.15%, and then resources down 5.5%, really because gold, to an extent platinum, but gold really is a lot lower than it was today. The other big story, than it was last week rather, the other big story, of course, is Pick and Pay. They're down 7.25%, John. That's despite the fact they reduced their interim loss by around 45% in the 6 months to the end of August. They're still getting punished today. The group was able to increase its like-for-like sales by 4.8%. Internal price inflation was 2.1%. That is significantly below inflation. We'll speak to their CEO, Sean Summers, on the Money Show. Otherwise, it's gold and platinum stocks that are down quite dramatically. 91 up by 5% on the day, and Naspers and Prosus also up by 3% after a strong showing with Tencent in China. Also news around the Brazilian arm of Prosus, all of that having an impact. And then Omnia up 2.23% on the day. Curro confirming it's got virtually all of the necessary permissions for it to delist. As part of that deal that sees the Jannie Multon Stiftung taking over the group, delisting from the JSE, the final price of the group to be paid in Capitec shares will be a 74% premium on the closing price of Curro back in August. That's how they assess it. In the US, it's a big week, John. So Trump is in Japan. He's due to meet the Chinese leader Xi Jinping in South Korea tomorrow. So in the US, investors are expecting a Japanese trade deal. They're expecting a Chinese trade deal after that big climb down on rare earths over the weekend. There's also a series of big tech earnings and a likely cut in interest rates by the U.S. Federal Reserve. So all of that pushing U.S. indices up. The Dow Jones up 0.6%. The Nasdaq up 1.5%. The S&P 500 up a full percent as well. The gold price right now, $4,005.15 an ounce. Platinum, $1,593.10. Brent crude up from where it was last week. That's $65.11. The rand to the dollar, 17.25 to the euro, 20.07 to the British pound, 23.99. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
28 minutes now to 5. Let's get the latest eyewitness news. Maki Mulapo with news from Mamelodi. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. We begin in KwaZulu-Natal, where thousands of protesters are marching through the streets of the Durban CBD demanding justice for a family whose son died after falling down a lift shaft. 7-year-old twins Aphelele and Apile Dlamini allegedly fell down an open lift shaft of the building they live in more than a week ago. Aphelele died while his twin sister was critically injured. She's currently recovering in hospital. Nhlanhla Mabaso has more.
Members of few organizations, including the EFF, ANC, MK Party, March in March Movement and Operation Dudula, have brought the Durban CBD to a standstill. They are demanding the management of Homey Building to be held accountable for the tragedy. The protesters say they are standing up for the Dlamini family, who have been calling for justice since the incident occurred. Here's the ANC Youth League's Sfiso Mfeka.
We are gathered here on our numbers. We are seeking the attention of the management of Uhomi to actually take responsibility of the situation right now and as quickly as possible.
Meanwhile, the MK Party's Mina Ntletsibane had this to say.
And currently, the home is failing to give the parent and the police the evidence. So we are having a problem with the police failing to give parent a full investigation in terms of what happened.
The protesters are planning to march to the Durban Central Police Station, where a memorandum of demands will be handed over. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban CBD.
The Transport Department has set an ambitious target to move 600 million rail passengers by 2030 as part of a broader strategy to revitalize South Africa's rail and freight logistics systems through private sector partnerships. The department says it hopes to restore efficiency, reliability and competitiveness in the transport of both passengers and goods. While government would maintain public ownership of core infrastructure, the move would open the door for private investment to improve efficiency. A memorandum of agreement between the Transport Department, the Development Bank of Southern Africa and the National Treasury has already been signed. Transport Minister Barbara Creasy.
The PSP unit is in the process of being capacitated and will be ready to commence with the conceptualization of bid windows and the development of requests for proposals.
She says the first phase has already attracted 162 responses, including responses from 12 countries outside South Africa.
Interested and affected parties will be prompted to register their details before accessing the RFI analysis report on freight transport.
Parliament's Basic Education Committee says bullying in schools can't be ignored and continues to undermine the dignity and mental health of school learners. Chairperson of the committee, Joy Maimela, says they remain concerned at the rise in reports of bullying in schools following last week's incident at Cape Town's Milnerton High School. 6 pupils accused of bullying were charged with assault with the intent to cause grievous bodily harm after a video of them assaulting a fellow learner went viral on social media. They appeared in court last week and were released on 2,000 Rand bail. Maimela was addressing the issue at a Parliament social cluster briefing where she spoke on exam readiness and bullying.
While we take pride in our examination readiness, we cannot ignore a challenge that continues to undermine the safety, dignity and mental health of too many learners, which is bullying.
She says they've now directed the Basic Education Department to assist all schools to ensure that they have anti-bullying policies in place.
What we have noted, though, is that majority of our schools do not have a comprehensive anti-bullying policy. What they do have is code of conduct, which just touches the issue of of bullying.
And optimism is growing that Donald Trump and China's Xi Jinping will end their bruising trade war in talks this week as the U.S. president touched down in Tokyo on the latest leg of an Asian tour today. Speaking aboard Air Force One, Trump said that he was hopeful of a deal when he sees Xi on Thursday. The optimism boosted stock markets with Japan's Nikkei surpassing 50,000 points for the first time. The Republican leader also indicated that he was willing to extend his trip in order to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
I got along great with Kim Jong-un. I liked him. He liked me. If he wants to meet, I'll be in South Korea.
A look at your weather. A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected tomorrow. Temperatures will drop to overnight lows between 15 and 18 degrees and peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees.
Well, at this stage in the Calvin area, we still have roadworks causing heavy delays. This is on the N3 southbound between the Bacloua interchange and London Road due to roadworks. There's also bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is in the Tembisa area, R21 northbound this is approaching Olifantsfontein Road, and in Fountains, Pretoria, accident scene on Christina de Wit near Euphius causing delays.
The top story in Eyewitness News, thousands of protesters are marching through the streets of Durban CBD demanding justice for a family whose son died after falling down a lift shaft.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Christian Friends of Israeli Communities and Christians for Israel, USA. It's a USA-based entity that was serving civil papers on Francesca Albanese in South Africa. Surely that shouldn't be allowed?
It's not up to a person that institutes civil legal proceedings against another person in another country to simply just serve those same papers.
Benedict Piri is our legal expert. He's also the managing director of Jurisprudentia Special Counsel.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Standard Bank and 702 are joining forces to launch a brand new weekly feature that demystifies trade in the Africa-China corridor. We're calling it China Unlocked. Every week, I'll be joined by top experts who will explore the massive trade opportunities that exist between China and Africa. It's going to be fascinating stuff as we cover how to cut costs, boost margins, and expand into Africa by diversifying supply chains, scaling agro-processing, and leveraging renewables and logistics. So whether you're a well-established company or you're simply exploring the idea of doing business in China, join me, John Perlman, for China Unlocked every Tuesday on 702 Drive. It's brought to you by Standard Bank Business and Commercial Banking. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The South African Future Trust Summit is back and bolder than ever. This year, Standard Bank joins as headline sponsor, underscoring the summit's role as South Africa's leading platform for entrepreneurship. On 5 and 6 November at the Sandton Convention Center, connect with leading entrepreneurs, investors, and change makers. This is where bold ideas meet transformative investment. Get your tickets now at summits.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
Life can sometimes throw dumb inconveniences your way. Just listen.
My toddler had a meltdown at 11 p.m. because we didn't have any yogurt.
At least baby quart doesn't exist. Yet.
I saved some snacks. Next thing, gone. And it's 9 p.m.
Fire your entire household, Jabu.
I went to shower and there was no soap left.
That's awkward. Don't allow life to inconvenience you. Come around to NJET. We're open 24/7. Quick, sharp, and co. At your convenience. NJET. With us, you are number one.
702.
Call John
on 011
883
0702.
Okay, so I was talking a little bit about the Ride Joburg cycle race. I didn't take part, but I drove up the M1 North as the cyclists cycled north on the M1 South. Yes, they were allowed to do that for the day. Do not do it today. I wouldn't recommend it. But I was just remarking on the people dressed in cow-patterned uniform. Look like, I don't know much about cows. Black and white. Let me just stay in my lane and not talk too much about an area of agriculture I'm not well informed on. But Rob, you're calling in from Bedfordview and you are involved with the cows. Tell us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Thank you very much. Thanks for taking my call. So I help out with the cows. We do the Ride Joburg. We did it yesterday with all our friends. So there was a nice team doing one loop, and then they do the regular sort of ride around Johannesburg, and then I lead a group called the Apocalypse Cows, and we cycled the Ride Joburg twice.
Okay.
So we did once in the morning, and then we do a second loop to go help our friends and make sure everybody gets home safely.
Wow. And are you fundraising at the same time? Tell us a bit about the other motivation apart from the fact that you guys love riding.
Yeah, we love riding. We love bringing love into the world, but it's mainly fundraising. We've been doing it since 2008 with our friends, and we've been quite lucky because people love cows, and we've been quite successful. I think up until this point in time, from 2008, we raised about 60 million rand.
Wow.
For CHOC. So we're very lucky. We've got a lot of people who like us and help us, and all the money goes to CHOC, who help kids with cancer.
Yeah. Well, you say you're very lucky, but I have to say, Rob, you and your crew are making your own luck, one pedal strike at a time. Congratulations. It's brilliant work. Your guys were very striking in the large number of riders out on the road, and strength to your calves to stretch the cow analogy for next year's race. Thank you. Rob calling from Bedfordview with that. It's 17 minutes now to 5.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele Mganga, we have another 2-test series. I think 2-test series, by the way, should be made illegal. They should always be 3. I would have loved to see us play one more time against Pakistan, but India next month, and we have a squad.
Absolutely, John. And it's been announced, and it'll see a return for Captain Temba Bavuma, while Prenel Subrian and David Benningham miss out. Shukri Conrad's side will be looking to build on their drawn series against Pakistan.
They're a better side, better batters, maybe better bowlers, and high quality players. I think what they'll really show is a resilience that we're going to have to match. We're going to have to be on top of our game for longer periods. I think they'll just be a lot more resilient because I think they're a better side. They're the top side in the world, man, in their conditions. You don't go there and win easily.
A man has been arrested for allegedly stalking and sexually harassing 2 Australian cricketers in Indore on Thursday. The players were touched inappropriately by a motorcyclist while walking to a cafe. The Board of Control for Cricket in India was quick to condemn the harassment, calling it a deeply regrettable and isolated incident. Switching over to football, where Adeslam Wadu has issued a firm stance on sportsmanship and fair play. This follows Orlando Pirates' exit from the CAF Champions League's St. Eloi Lubobo. While the game finished 3-3 on aggregate, last season's semi-finalists were eliminated on penalties. The second leg, however, was marred by time wasting and tempers flaring, including a first-half scuffle that saw both teams reduced to 10 men.
The answer should be on the pitch by football and beating the opponent by scoring goals, by the game plan, by playing football, not cheating. But I can tell you that it's not the behavior, it's not the hospitality that we are expecting. I thanks the South African mentality, the hospitality, how we welcome people in the stadium, because football should be a show, should be a party. Unfortunately, some clubs don't understand what's the power of image that we give to the people.
The Stormers, Bulls and Lions have finished the first block of the United Rugby Championship in the top 8, while the Sharks recorded their first win of the season. That's ahead of the competition taking a break for the November tests. John Plumtree has discussed what pleased him most about their 29-19 win over Scarlets.
I'm really pleased with the way the forwards are scrummaging. I'm happy with some of our forward play around our driving lineouts. I think we've improved a lot in that area. I think Warren Whiteley and Philip Lemo are doing a good job in that space. Yeah, it's sort of hard to look for too many positives. I know how much better we can play than that, So yeah, we just don't look like a side that's really clicking yet.
And Athletics South Africa have announced its intention to suspend President James Moloi following a decision taken during a 10-hour board meeting on Saturday. The action comes after a forensic report procured by SASCOC probed revelations made before Parliament regarding the use of an ASA-issued credit card. Moloi has been served with a letter calling on him to furnish reasons why he shouldn't be suspended, failing which a suspension will automatically follow. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get you home. Let's get out onto the roads and get you the very, very latest. If you're in the Tembisa area, things are going rather slowly. Karabo Chale has the explanation and hopefully a solution.
Well, at this stage, yes, John, if you're heading towards Pretoria, leaving Tembisa, expect about a 20-minute delay. This is on the R21 northbound between the R25 Papsfontein off-ramp and Olifantsfontein Road. It's not yet clear what's causing this delay at this time of the afternoon. So if you are on that route, please let us know. Inform us. WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702. Also in the Calvin area, roadwork still causing heavy delays on the N3 southbound between the Bacloons Change and London Road. In Marlborough, heading onto the N3. There's bumper-to-bumper traffic on Marlborough Drive. This is delays all the way from the M1 in Devland. Roadworks also slowing down traffic on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. While in the capital, there's an accident scene in Fountains on Christina de Wit near Euphius, causing heavy delays all the way from the Fountain Circle. If you cross any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
We were having a little chat about when people do things that they really hope will make your life better, but it's not always what you want them to do. And sometimes it can make your life more complicated. And never is that more true than when friends or family members or maybe workmates step in and say, oh, I think I should fix you up with people who come in and say, I'm going to help you sort out this little fallow period in your dating life. So I'd be interested to know, do you do that? Have you had that done for you? And how did it work out when people set you up on dates, maybe well meant, not a great success, or maybe it was something for which you would be absolutely and eternally grateful because it was just exactly what you needed. Give me a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Tola Kele, matchmakers in your life?
Absolutely not, and I'm very grateful for that.
So is that because nobody's tried, or is it because people have tried and didn't do it twice?
No one has tried, and I'm grateful for that because
Yes.
my friends and my colleagues will be the first people to tell you that when the things that you require and the things that they're willing to do, they're not at the same level. Like my baby brother, as I call him, he's always the first person to be like, "You're so smart." He'll give me all of these words for affirmations, and I'll say to him, "Okay, so then introduce me to your friends." Like, absolutely no way. After they break your heart, you will never speak to me again.
Yes,
and
yes.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so you and your brother have got it. I mean, Karabo, there are different ways of doing this. So the one is to say, oh, you need to meet with this person. Some people can be quite active and interventionist. And then there's the kind of the halfway model, which says, why don't you give my friend a call? And that, and then there's the one that I've always preferred is where people say, oh, I'm having a few people around, and they have in mind that you would enjoy meeting somebody else and vice versa. And they set up an opportunity rather than matchmaking a date. How about how's this played out in your life?
I've never ever felt comfortable with people hooking up others. I just feel like it's just at the beginning of the dating days. I think it has to be private. I like keeping my life quite secret.
Yes.
So I don't like people knowing much about my love life, and I don't feel comfortable people being involved in my love life. I wouldn't do it personally. I wouldn't matchmake people. I just because it might turn out bad, and then I'll be the person to be blamed, and it's none of my business.
Stay out of it. Stay out of my life and I'll stay out of yours is one way to do it. But I bet you've made some matches in the past, and maybe people have done that for you. Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 9 minutes to 5.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The B20 in brief on 702 Drive is brought to you by Standard Bank, your weekly window into the key insights and conversations shaping the B20 Summit. We do it every Monday, and it's a conversation that looks, I suppose, to a parallel process that is going on in addition to the major business of the G20. It's the gathering of business leaders from all over the world, economists and other experts on growth and prosperity and development. And it's a fascinating and very, very important part of South Africa's hosting of the G20 in 2025. Joining us to talk about this is Busi Mavuso, who is CEO of Business Leadership South Africa. A very good afternoon to you, Ms. Mavuso, and thanks for your time.
John, good afternoon, and thank you very much for inviting me.
So, I mean, you've been involved in so many forums in your life in business and organized business and the interface between that world on the one hand and politics on the other. Is something different happening in the B20 process? I would have thought there is at the very least a richness of participants bringing experience from many corners of the globe.
Absolutely. So I think, as you rightfully say, remember the B20 is the voice of the G20, and our job is to advocate for policies that drive economic growth and development. So it's not necessarily going to be policies that are Africa or South Africa specific, because it still has to be issues that resonate with the broader global economy. So it has to be cross-cutting global issues. And it becomes difficult to get buy-in of the issues if it's just for the country or for the continent.
Right.
So yes, we represent the global business community. We develop the policy recommendations, and at the end of the year, when we have the summit, we are going to host about 3,000 business leaders at the summit. So South Africa obviously just holds that presidency this year. And the conversations that have happened in the task forces have actually been quite interesting, and a lot of them, interestingly enough, have been Africa biased.
One of the things I've always wondered about, I mean, Africa is such a diverse continent. Do we sometimes perhaps limit the opportunity for specific conversations by framing things as a continent-wide issue? And I'll tell you what I mean by that. You get a resource-rich country like Angola, which I would assume is very, very different to Somalia, for example. How do you avoid, on the one hand, or rather, how do you, on the one hand, get the benefits of talking continent-wide ideas, because some of the regulatory and logistical stuff would require continent-wide solutions, but some of the specific solutions I would have thought would be very diverse?
You know, it's interesting because when you look at all the recommendations that came out from all the 8 task forces, all of them actually would benefit Africa. You know, it's interesting, as much as we are diverse, you know, as the different countries in Africa, but there is so much that we have in common with issues of a lack of digital infrastructure, issues of digital literacy, issues of improving the energy infrastructure, issues of healthcare, issues of education, issues of ease of access to capital, issues of improving the flow of funds to the African continent, issues of having the right infrastructure project, because we do have an infrastructure deficit in the continent, which will then make it difficult for us to actually usher in the African continental free trade area. You know, issues of climate finance, issues of early childhood development, you know, issues of making sure that we leverage the platform economy. So all of these are actually, that's why I'm saying that it was very interesting for us, you know, that to have to sit in a task force of more than 300 business leaders from all over the G20 countries, but you come up with the recommendations that somehow, you know, are of value and benefit the African continent. So we are very excited about what has come out. And if these are actually going to be adopted, Africa is actually going to be a different continent, and it will benefit greatly, John, from these recommendations.
Regulatory and structural reform. I mean, is that a problem of systems, or is it a problem of mindset? Because a theme that, you know, to the extent that I follow this, seems to come out quite a bit is people want to do business on the continent, but it's way more complicated and time consuming than it should be. And of course, you have raised those issues within our own country as well. But is it a question of just changing systems or changing minds?
It's really a question of changing systems. Ghana has done it. Kenya has done it, Rwanda has done it, and I think that is what normally the issue with South Africa is, you know, to say our regulatory environment is just so difficult, it is just so rigid. I remember talking to someone and they were saying that if you want to register a company in Rwanda, you can do it within, I don't know whether they said 4 hours.
Wow.
And when you come to South Africa, you know, you actually have to take more than a month because you have to do CIPC, and then you have to do SARS, and then you have to be taken, if you're going to be trading or whatever the case is, the trading licenses. So there's something you're going to have to go probably maybe and get from the city of Joburg or city of Tshwane, depending on where you're actually going to be. And they're saying that entire process, I think they said 4 days versus 4 hours versus 40 days. So that just shows you, you know, that if you put the right systems in place, if you actually have a mindset which says, I'm trying to position myself for foreign direct investment, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for investment to land here, and if these are the challenges that are actually preventing investment from landing here, then how do I actually make it easier? As South Africa, for instance, from a DTIC perspective, we've been talking about the one-stop shop for a very long time.
Yes.
To say, if you want to register a business, we want to the DTIC to have this one-stop shop where you can have the SARS registration, you know, you can have the CIPC registration, you can have whatever trading license that you would need from your local city of Joburg or city. It still hasn't happened. We've been talking about it for so long. And then they bring in issues of labor rigidities, you know, how difficult it is to fire employees, you know, in South Africa, how unions make it difficult, you know, for you to run. So those are all issues that are really country specific. And of course, those are not issues that would be dealt with, you know, at a P20 level, because it would just be specific to a country. It's not necessarily, you know, a global policy issue, as it were.
Thanks so much to Busi Mavuso, CEO of Business Leadership South Africa. We continue our conversation about what really is a fascinating parallel process to the G20. Business leaders, experts on economic growth and other kinds of related issues getting together regularly and trying to map a way forward. At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Money allegedly spent by a school principal in the Eastern Cape. This was money that was meant for a school feeding scheme. It's not just the politicians who are louche. We're living with these avaricious hyenas, spittle dripping down their mouths, looking to feed at every turn. Hungry little piggies, ready to feed at the trough.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
For over a decade, Aluma Capital has had one simple mission: to help you secure the financial future you deserve. Over the past 10 years, they've empowered thousands of clients with personalized strategies, expert advice, and impressive returns of up to 13.2%. Whether it's growing wealth, securing retirement, or planning for the unexpected, Aluma Capital is there every step of the way. Visit aluma.co.za today. Aluma Capital is a licensed FSP. T's and C's apply.
Huawei Watch GT6 Series, 2025's must-have smartwatch, introducing the king of power. Up to 21 days of unstoppable battery life in a sleek titanium and ceramic design that's as strong as it's stylish. The Trackmaster with 24/7 heart rate tracking, sleep monitoring, advanced health management, and the world's first cycling virtual power feature. Fully compatible with both iOS and Android. Get yours now from just 169 Rand a month over 36 months or 4,999 Rand at selected retailers. T's and C's apply.
Hey, Laura.
The unmistakable voice of jazz and soul returns to South Africa, Gregory Porter. Join the two-time Grammy Award winner for 3 intimate performances now at Teatro Monte Casino on the 20th, 21st and 22nd of November. Don't miss one of the greatest voices of our time, Gregory Porter, live. Book now at showtime.co.za.
This week, 702 is in conversation with Auto & General. We'll be talking about Auto & General's events liability insurance. It's the insurance for event managers, organizers, and exhibitors, protecting them if something goes wrong. Whether you're organizing a once-off celebration or a series of events, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. 702 in conversation with Auto & General this Wednesday on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
This is EWN.
Suspect arrested for the murder of 2 Mamelodi women, and MK Party backs Gauteng Premier Lessufi. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Molapo. We begin in the capital, where a 38-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the murders of 2 young women in Mamelodi, west of Pretoria, over the weekend. Tsiamo and Baleseng Moramaga, aged 21 and 22, were found shot dead in Mamelodi East in the early hours of Sunday morning after a night out. Police have revealed that a third victim was also shot during the incident but survived and is receiving medical treatment. The suspect will appear in the Mamelodi Magistrates Court on Wednesday. Gauteng Police spokesperson Tintswalo Sibeko.
Joint team consisting of detectives from Gauteng Provincial Serious and Violence Crime Unit, Provincial Crime Intelligence, and Mamelodi East detectives arrested the suspect at a filling station in Pretoria.
We move to KwaZulu-Natal, where police in the province have denied allegations that there is no statement in a docket related to the case of 7-year-old twins who fell into a shaft in Durban. A week ago, Aphelele Dlamini was killed in the incident while his sister Aphile Dlamini was rushed to hospital and remains there undergoing medical treatment. Today, thousands of people marched through the Durban CBD demanding justice for the pair and calling for the property owner to account. Nhlanhla Mabaso followed the march today and joins us live on the line. Nhlanhla, have demonstrations concluded?
Yes, Maki, the rain is pouring this side and protesters have dispersed. They have, however, managed to hand over their memorandum of demands to both the owners of the building where the tragic incident occurred and to the police at their provincial headquarters this afternoon. In their list of demands, they are calling for the prioritization of the case and for overall justice to be served. They are also demanding that the footage of the incident that was captured to be released, Maki. Earlier, the father of the twins, Kanya Dlamini, complained that there were issues with the case docket. However, police spokesperson Robert Nechunda addressed the march on this matter.
Information that there was a statement that was missing from the docket. That information is not correct. The docket is intact.
But the father has, however, accused the police of being misleading. In Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, I'm reporting live from the Durban CBD.
We move to the capital yet again, but this time in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, where a ballistics expert has revealed that there are more than 29,000 firearms kept in police storage that are linked to several criminal investigations. Head of the ballistics division at the South African Police Service, Brigadier Meshach Mkhabela, revealed this during his testimony at the commission today. He's uncovered that some of the firearms linked to DJ Somebody's murder were also linked to 24 other murders, including those of DJ Vintos and Vereniging engineer Arman Swart. Alpha Ramushana has more.
Head of the South African Police Services Ballistics Unit, Brigadier Meshach Mkhabela, says police have confiscated an overwhelming number of firearms, both licensed and unlicensed. Mkhabela says this is clear evidence that South Africa has become a country overrun by criminal activity.
Commissioner, at any given point, I have more than 29,000 firearms, and each of those firearms, a victim has been killed.
He says the ballistics division is severely understaffed, making it impossible to analyze firearm evidence promptly.
But that is actually one area that keeps me awake at night. I always say if anyone wants to appreciate the level of high crime involving firearms in South Africa, one must just visit my strong room where I keep exhibits.
Brigadier Mkhabela has now wrapped up his testimony. Alpha Ramshwan, Eyewitness News.
The Umkhonto weSizwe Party in Gauteng says it will not support the DA's proposed motion of no confidence in Premier Panyaza Lesufi. Last week, the DA announced its intent to remove Lesufi from his post following a damning report by the public protector against the provincial government. The report found the Gauteng crime prevention wardens, nicknamed Amapanyaza, were irregularly established with no legal mandate to do any police work. Tabiso Goba has the details.
The Umkhonto weSizwe Party in Gauteng says it cannot punish Premier Panyaza Lesufi for trying to fight crime. The party's caucus leader in the provincial legislature, Thabang Nkani, says the MKP doesn't feel Lesufi should lose his job over the public protector's reports.
There may have been problems before the 7th administrations. We have came as MK, we are participating with them in all committees. We showed them our stand, and we can't support anything that is opportunistic.
This is another blow for the DA's motion, as Action SA says it cannot pledge its support for it until the DA has secured the votes of the MK and EFF caucuses. Action SA says if the DA is sincere, it must also apologize to Gauteng residents for voting in Lesufi as premier when it thought it was going to be in coalition with the ANC. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
And President Cyril Ramaphosa has welcomed the country's exit from the Financial Action Task Force grey list, saying it bodes well for the country's economy as a whole. Ramaphosa says the country's exit from the FATF grey list is also good news for the integrity and reputation of South Africa's financial system, for the country's status as an investment destination. The FATF is a global body that aims to tackle global money laundering and terrorist financing, and in 2023 it put South Africa on its grey list for falling short of certain international standards. Ramaphosa was reacting to the country's exit from the grey list in his latest newsletter. Babala Ndenza has more.
In its statement last week, FATF welcomed what it says is significant progress South Africa has made in improving its anti-money laundering and countering terrorism financing regime. The organization called for these improvements to be sustained by the country, which will keep it off the grey list. President Cyril Ramaphosa says it's just over 2 years since the FATF identified deficiencies that had rendered South Africa increasingly vulnerable to financial crimes. He says the dedication of a multidisciplinary team led by National Treasury has culminated in the country's formal exit from the grey list, which stood in the way of greater investment. Ramaphosa says the implications of grey listing are that countries struggle to obtain credit and access to international financial services. He says the milestone is a boost for South Africa's international reputation and global standing, saying grey listing results in a country being seen as risky for investors. Babala Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
Gold's trading at $3,981.22 an ounce. The rand's at 17.25 to the dollar, at 22.99 to the pound, at 20.08 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $66.12 a barrel.
In Tembisa, you can expect about a 30-minute delay on the R21 northbound. This is between the R25 Babsfontein off-ramp, between the R25 Babsfontein off-ramp and Olifantsfontein Road due to roadworks. And in Calvin, also heavy delays on the N3 southbound between the Between Change and London Road due to roadworks.
In your sport, the Proteas women look ahead to their World Cup semi-final against England. Bayern Munich cancelled Jerome Boateng's internship following fan protest. And Adrian Wildschut breaks South African record at the Valencia Half Marathon.
A look at your weather. Partly cloudy skies in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected tomorrow. Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 15 degrees and peak at highs of 26. Pretoria is at 18 and 27. Vereeniging is also at lows of 18, reaching highs of 28 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. A 38-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the murders of 2 young women in Mamelodi, west of Pretoria, over the weekend.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it is 11 minutes past 5. Good to have you with us on the show today. Coming up shortly, we're going to have this conversation. Could you imagine life without the internet? I don't necessarily mean, life from here on ever after, but a substantial chunk of time where you can't access some of the things that we absolutely take for granted. It may be banking, it may be connections that are vital to the forward movement or stability of the place where you work or the business that you own. It could be connected to the online learning that you and other people in your life are actually doing. Well, it's unlikely that the entire internet might go down, but is the platform in its many, many manifestations much more vulnerable than we think? I've read a couple of articles that suggest there's an underlying vulnerability there that we need to better understand, including me, because I don't understand much of it. But my next guest is someone who does. Duncan McLeod, editor Tech Central, is going to be joining us to try and shed some light on what seems to me to be a very important thing that we understand at least a little bit better than we currently do. Duncan with us in a couple of moments' time. We are going to give you the very latest traffic news, some problems on the R21. We'll give you some details on that. Thanks, by the way, to listeners calling in and giving us some insights into what they see. Always welcome your contributions, either updating us on the news, a traffic situation, or anything else, insights that you might have that we don't know much about. Please do get in touch on 072 702 1702. It's 13 minutes past 5.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John and 702 listeners. This is Trisha here. My friend once arranged that matchmaker for me. I tried to be open-minded about it, We carried on, we went on, but when it comes to about 4 or the 5th month, I was really up to here with that guy. And I just ended things with him. He was so possessive. He was just full of drama. Thank you guys.
Hi, John. I'm a gorgeous 37-year-old, and because I work a full-time job, there really isn't time to meet people. I tell all my friends, but I think this message falls on deaf ears. I tell all my friends, please, guys, introduce me to people, let it be with intention. I tell my family members as well, but yeah, I think it is falling on deaf ears because no one is hooking me up. I would definitely, if there was a group of men that I knew, possibly that I could trust, I would definitely hook my friends up. I'd definitely introduce my friends to my brothers or cousins, if I had a circle of men around me. Yeah.
Hi, Mbappe John. In terms of being match made by friends, or rather, let me call them so-called friends, what a disaster. And I'm talking friends that you've known for over 10 years. And I'm like, what ghost, what creature have you match made me with? Because how can you say you are my friend of over 10 years and that is the connection you make? What a disaster. Never again. I've done it twice and both times it's completely failed. Never. I do not recommend it at all.
Yeah, I find those things so interesting. And look, I've had long chunks of my life of being single and struggling to make connections before being blessed as I am now. But I want to say this, that my sense, for me at least, was the things I most enjoyed, rather than saying, okay, here's this person and the two of you should get together in some way. I always much more enjoyed when people put together larger gatherings for two reasons. One is there's less pressure. It's a little bit more comfortable. And if you're meant to connect with a person and chat to them, that will happen around a dinner table or around in a booth in a bar where there's 6, 7 or 8 of you. But the other thing is it gives you a chance to see what the person is like with other people and how they interact with people and not just you. So for what it's worth, that would be my approach. We've tried a few times, or I've tried as well, to connect friends with people who we also knew were single and thought there might be some match there. No great success, I have to say, so far, but willing to try and assist where possible. 16 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Problems out in Tembisa. Karabuchale mentioned that earlier. Here's an update.
Yeah, you can expect about a 30-minute delay. Tembisa heading towards Pretoria, R21 northbound between the R25 Pastfontein off-ramp and Olifantsfontein Road. Earlier, I asked you to send us a voice note if you're on that route, and we have one from a kind motorist.
The reason for the delays on the R21 North is planned roadworks regarding sinkhole repairs in the Olifantsfontein off-ramp area. The northbound lanes have been reduced to 2 lanes, permanent lane reduction, and that is causing the tailback towards the engine garages. Core in Kempton Park.
Thank you very much for that heads up. In Calvin, we also have delays on the N3 southbound between the Between Interchange and London Road due to roadworks. In Marlborough, traffic pressure, Marlborough Drive between the M1 and the N3, and in Bryanston, traffic also sluggish on the N1 southbound. This is between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 5:30.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the eager beaver driving to meet the woman of his dreams. Butterflies in his stomach, GPS on full volume. He checks his hair for the 7th time. Looking good. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a possible love story on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005. In proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Don't just hear the roar, feel it live. DP World Lions are unleashing their legacy of champions in the explosive T20 Challenge. The pride of Jersey, the Lions are ready to pounce on Boerland in their season opener at the DP World Wanderers Stadium. Sunday, 2 November, 2 p.m. Feel the thrill of smashing sixes, stunning catches, and nail-biting finishes. Get your tickets today at Ticket Pro or visit the DP World Lions website. Don't miss the action. Be part of the legacy.
You could spend 10 minutes on social media or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 GWMP series, 54-year-old Amos now pays only 1,004 Rand a month. And for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser, 55-year-old Andre pays just 776 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
At Premier Hotels and Resorts, business travelers staying alone enjoy a complimentary drink every night of their stay. So, whatever your tipple, it's on the house at any of our 24 hotels and resorts nationwide. Book today at premierhotels.co.za.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
20 past 5. It has many, many pitfalls, but boy, do I love the internet. The easy access to commerce, to transaction, to information. You can satisfy your curiosity on all sorts of things. I am a fan. But is the World Wide Web, the internet, much more vulnerable than perhaps we realize? Now, 7 days ago, there was a problem at one of the Amazon-owned operations, and Amazon Web Services outage caused problems basically all over the world, or certainly in many parts of the world. For example, Lloyd's Bank was affected, Wordle, Coinbase, Duolingo, Pokemon Go. Some of these, you might say, are not exactly mission critical, but very much part of people's lives. And I'm just reading something that caught my eye, but it has prompted quite a few conversations where people are saying too much, particularly of cloud-based services, are actually controlled by too small a number of companies. Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, and Google, for example, I think control about 60% of that aspect of our daily lives. So is there an underlying vulnerability here that perhaps we ought to take more seriously than we do? Duncan McLeod is editor at Tech Central and joins us now. Duncan, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. Is this part of life on the internet, that there will be outages and then everything gets back to normal? Or are there perhaps some structural vulnerabilities that need addressing? Good afternoon to you.
Hi there, John. It's interesting. There seem to be more of these reports as time goes on, but I think that's just as we become more and more connected as a society. I think the internet is actually very good at routing around damage. So, if one data center goes offline, or a submarine cable goes on the blink because a ship drags its anchor through it, or whatever happens, I think the internet's pretty good at routing around that damage. You do, however, have instances with giant data centers, they call them hyperscale data centers, can go down for it's usually due to some sort of minor issue like a network configuration problem, but it can have consequences that ripple around the world, as you mentioned. And we saw that now with Amazon's data centers on the east coast of the US, which went down a few days ago, causing disruption, mainly in America, but also to some companies around the world. And as you mentioned, a lot of people couldn't get their Wordle fixed, which is probably a bit of a crisis, really.
Not mission critical, but serious if you love Wordle.
Absolutely. But it's interesting. I mean, what you say about how critical this infrastructure is becoming to the modern economy is undoubtedly true. And I think we've seen some hints of it with the war, Russia's war on Ukraine, and the incidents we've been seeing, particularly around Scandinavia, with undersea cables and suggestions that the Russians have been surveilling them, if not outright cutting them. And I think it's quite clear now that if there was some sort of global conflagration, if we did go to some sort of war situation. China invades Taiwan, or Russia increases its aggression in Eastern Europe. One of the things we may see being attacked first is subsea and data center infrastructure, because it has become so critical to the modern world and to modern communications and to the functioning of the global economy. So I think there should be, and I'm sure that discussions are going on, but there should be moves by governments around the world to ensure that this infrastructure is protected, particularly from attack by adversaries. I think it is a very real risk in the decades ahead.
I mean, what you spoke about, these massive data centers, I'm reading a piece in The Guardian by someone called Aisha Down, and she paints a rather compelling picture. She describes an area called US Central One. It's a Google data center cluster, and it's somewhere in one of the more rural parts of the United States, the state of Iowa. But she paints a picture, tornadoes move through, buildings get affected, It does suggest, and I would assume all of these centers with AI moving in and so on are probably going to get bigger rather than smaller. So the problem may not be undersea at all, or not the only problem, but it could be on land as well.
It could indeed well be. And in fact, we know that OpenAI and partners, including Oracle and others, have announced plans to build what they call the Stargate data center complex,
right?
Which is this massive, absolutely massive. I think it's a $10 billion investment, if not more, in AI data center infrastructure, and a lot of that's going to be situated in a series of buildings in the same part of the United States. And these, in the event of hostilities, again, what would you attack first? Send the missiles raining down on these facilities would seem like a very logical first place to start, particularly given how integral AI is expected to become to the global economy in the years ahead. If you're an adversary and you want to attack your enemy, where do you go first? Well, let's drop a couple of bombs on these multi-billion-dollar data centers and cripple their economy. How you get around it, I don't know. I mean, Jeff Bezos is talking about building data centers in space now. It's not the first time I've heard that suggestion.
Yes.
Maybe that won't even shield it from attack by a sophisticated adversary. But there's no doubt that this cloud infrastructure that's been built, particularly over the last few years, and the anticipated investments that are going to go into this cloud infrastructure in the years ahead, this is mission-critical economic infrastructure, and it needs to be protected.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. We'll watch it. Thank you, Duncan McLeod, editor at Tech Central. Duncan and the rest of the Tech Central team, always very much on top of these big stories. So, yeah, it's the internet, from the little bit I've read and what Duncan said, clearly not on the verge of collapse. But the interesting thing is to always look ahead at not so much episodic problems, but structural and systemic vulnerabilities. And it would appear as if there are a few of those. 26 minutes past 5.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
So where would you say parents could be doing better to really not just help the ecosystem of raising this child, but also help with the teaching, especially because parents are busier now?
Very.
They aren't sitting. If you're lucky, you have an au pair who is fully dedicated, but it's still not you, the parent.
First, you sign a code of conduct at the school, right? With the school rules for children and how it's going to work, or the policies, how the day runs, the subjects. You do sign and agree that when you come into a school, uphold your commitment. Even if your child's messed up, uphold the commitment. Don't challenge the school on that boundary.
Alison Scott, Executive Principal at Bella Vista School.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota.
Let's walk the talk.
Southern Sun's Sunbreak Summer Sale is on from 28 to 31 October, saving you up to 30% on your summer holiday, with rates starting from 1,145 Rand per room per night, including breakfast. 2 kids stay and eat breakfast for free when sharing with 2 adults. Book and stand a chance to win an amazing Seychelles vacation in partnership with Savannah, exclusive to frequent guest members. Not a member? Sign up for free at southernsun.com. Do it now. Savannah, not for persons under 18. Drink responsibly. T's and C's apply.
Access to the internet is vital for any country to grow. That's why the recent 6.75 billion rand digital infrastructure deal that Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking facilitated between Telkom and an Actis-led consortium is so transformational for South Africa. It unlocks growth and provides internet access to underserved communities who will now have access to the internet for the very first time. Search CIB Stories of Impact to watch the full story.
Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
EWN Business.
China and the US possibly getting on better. Gold shares taking a little bit of a knock. Stephen Curtis with that story and others. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, John. Absolutely. I mean, the gold price down 3.4% or thereabouts on the day. That's pushed gold shares down. That's pushed resources on the JSE down 7%. Platinum sort of following that lead as happens so often. That's pushed the JSE ore share down 1.57% at 108,707 points. Financials down 0.75%. Industrials down 1.43%, but resources down over 7%, really where the damage. As you would expect, Goldfields leading the charge down 11%. Harmony, Anglo Gold both down by just over 8%, and the rest sort of follow from there. Pick n Pay down 6.28%. They reduced their interim headline loss by around 45% in the 6 months to the end of August. Like-for-like sales were up 4.8%. There's an important moment in the sort of journey. Sean Summers did say it would take a while to get Pick n Pay profitable again. We'll ask him tonight how important this sort of stage of the journey is. They also say they've stopped closing loss-making Pick n Pay branches. We'll have a conversation around that as well. 91 up 5.57%, leading financials up today. Naspers and Prosus up 3.73% after a strong uptick from Tencent in China. And then we've also seen Omnia up 2.11% and Glencore up 1.67%. First Rand confirming it's buying just over 20% of the fintech company Optasia. Optasia is about to list on the JSE. First Rand saying it's a strategic investment to leverage proven fintech platform, and Astoria Investments say they want to delist from the JSE and from the stock exchange in Mauritius. Their net asset value per share is still trading at a discount of 40%. It's offering shareholders 12 Gold Rush Holdings preference shares for every 100 Astoria shares that they own. It's a big week in the US. The US President Donald Trump, he's in Japan. He's due in South Korea tomorrow to meet the Chinese leader Xi Jinping. They're expected to hammer out, we hope, a trade deal, which is why the gold price is so low. At the same time, in the US, expectations of another interest rate cut and a week of big earnings from some of the big tech companies. So the Dow Jones is up 0.41, the Nasdaq is up 1.5%, the S&P 500 is up 0.87% at the moment. The gold price much lower, John, $3,972.61. Platinum, $1,579.28. Brent crude ticking up. Remember, just above $60 last week at $65.48 now. And then the rand to the dollar holding steady, really, 17.24 to the euro, 20.06 to the British pound, 22.97. On the Money Show tonight, Sean Summers, obviously, we speak to Ismail Mamoniat, the person at the National Treasury who I think probably did more than almost anyone to get us off the grey list. What do we need to do now is one of the big questions there. We'll be talking about that tonight. We will also be looking at the situation around trains and the private sector, and then Karis Nafta, who makes her living dealing with pets. The pet economy has exploded, John, over the last 30 years. Her focus now is on how to look after your pet when the two owners in the house are separating. You know, when the humans no longer talk to each other, how do you make sure the tail still wags? We'll talk about that and a lot more. Have you ever had a dog trainer that you've been irritated with? Tonight, maybe we'll have the dog trainer who's irritated with you. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. All that and more on The Money Show tonight between 6 and 8. Let's get the latest eyewitness news now with Maki Molapo. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The National Prosecuting Authority has welcomed a Johannesburg High Court judgment denying Vusmusi Ket Matlala's bail appeal. The court handed down judgment today, saying his release would not serve the interest of justice. The alleged crime kingpin escalated his bid for bail to the High Court last week after the magistrate's court dismissed his application last month. He will now stay behind bars ahead of his trial. Khomotso Modise has more.
In addition to the attempted murder charge faced by Vusmuzi Kat Matlala for allegedly calling a hit on his socialite girlfriend Tebogo Tobejane, he faces 10 other similar charges. The High Court has considered some of these cases in its judgment. The NPA says the court has made the right decision in denying Matlala bail. Spokesperson Pindim Jonondwane.
We are of the view that the court made the right decision in denying Mr. Matlala bail, considering the severity of the charges and the risk to public safety, as well as law enforcement officers, including the investigating officer and the prosecutors involved in this matter.
The dockets of all of Matlala's cases will now be centralized ahead of the start of his trial. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
The Western Cape Education Department says 69 cases of alleged bullying were reported in the province in the first half of the school year. An incident at Milnerton High School involving a grade 10 learner who was allegedly assaulted by 8 older boys has put bullying under the spotlight in the province. The 8 learners have since appeared in court after being charged with assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. Carla Peterson has more.
Western Cape Education Department spokesperson Brona Hammond says there are various anti-bullying interventions at schools in the province.
There are various interventions at schools, including values campaigns, cyber wellness programs, after-school and holiday programs on conflict resolution and positive behaviour. Bullying is also addressed through the Life Orientation program.
Hammond says numerous cases of alleged bullying at schools in the Western Cape were reported during the first half of the year.
There have been 69 reported cases of bullying to the WCD in the first half of the school year.
Hammond says the cases are being investigated by school governing body disciplinary committees for a disciplinary hearing to possibly follow. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has expressed concern about violations of the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza amid continued attacks on the occupied Palestinian territories. He's appealed to the international community to make every effort to ensure the peace deal leads to Palestinian statehood and self-determination. Ramaphosa has today delivered a public lecture in Kuala Lumpur on the occasion of receiving an honorary doctorate in international relations. He's currently on a working visit in Asia, where he's attending the 47th Asian Summit and East Asian Summit, and Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
At a special convocation at the University Malaya today, President Cyril Ramaphosa has spoken of the country's ties to Malaysia, dating back to colonialism and slavery. He says although the degree is being conferred on him, it's in recognition of an entire nation's struggle for democracy and freedom. Thanking Malaysia for its support during the struggle, Ramaphosa has also paid tribute to the country's solidarity with Palestinian people.
After decades of dispossession, repression, and oppression, the people of Gaza are facing genocide as we speak.
While welcoming the return of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners, Ramaphosa says the ceasefire is being undermined by assaults on Gaza and the West Bank.
This must stop, and it must stop immediately to give dignity to the people of Gaza.
He's again called for a two-state solution based on the 1967 borders for a permanent end to hostilities. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And Jamaican authorities have urged residents to evacuate to one of 900 shelters set up across the island. This as Storm Melissa is due to hit the island and Cuba. The U.S. International Hurricane Center says this hurricane has intensified and could read Category 5, the highest, when it makes landfall either this evening or tomorrow. Both international airports have been closed at this time. Look at your weather. A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected tomorrow. Temperatures will drop to overnight lows between 15 and 18 degrees and peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees.
Tembisa, you can still expect more than a 30-minute delay R21 northbound between the R25 Fontaine off-ramp and Olifantsfontein Road. This is due to roadworks. So there's also bumper-to-bumper traffic in Polshof. This is on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven, and driving through the Joburg CBD, expect about a 30-minute delay. M1 South between Killarney Bends and the Crown Interchange.
The top story in Eyewitness News. The National Prosecuting Authority has welcomed a Johannesburg High Court judgment denying Vusmusi Kat Matlala's bail appeal.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Morgan Maumella's 52 million rand hypercar. Can you imagine spending 52 million rand on a car and that actually happened after Babita Deokaran was killed. So can you imagine the psychology of somebody who sees Babita Deokaran being killed and then thinks, I'm going to take all of the money, allegedly, that was looted and spend it on a 52 million rand hypercar. It's just wild.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Celebrate the diverse musical expressions that connect us across borders, languages, and cultures, honoring ancestral sounds that have echoed across the continent for generations. It's happening at the Nyrox Sculpture Park in the Cradle of Humankind on Sunday, the 2nd of November. Good Neighbours is a dynamic gathering of African artists, both emerging and established. They'll be exploring indigenous instruments, layered harmonies, rhythms, and innovative interpretations of traditional sounds, featuring Amadodana Asiwesile, Zawadi Yamungu, and Silent Ngor, among others, as well as MC Loyiso Gola. Limited tickets are available from nyroxarts.com. Nyrox is a private not-for-profit foundation to benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
Summer is about rewarding yourself with oceanic views, sizzling braais, and so much more. Earn your share of 120 million rand in real cashback, depending on your rewards tier, when you pay with your ABSA Visa card. Plus, enter the ABSA Swiper competition and stand a chance to win one of 10 cars. This summer could be the best you've had in years. Your story matters. ABSA, T's and C's apply. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Uncle John, in South Africa, you can register a company within hours. I've done it for my son. You can even choose the bank there. You finalize SARS, everything, and then you get all the documentation. Join Pretoria.
Yeah, well, that's good news to hear, Joe. I think some people have maybe had experiences with you themselves that were not quite as good as yours, but great to hear. I'm very glad to hear that you can do this and you can do it fast. So anyone else want to comment on that, do let us know. Some of you commenting on matchmaking. Bongiwe says, a common friend introduced us. My husband and I, after 30 years, we are still married with beautiful kids. It was the best matchmaking ever. Well done, matchmaker. We don't know who you are, but well done. It's 20 to 6.
EWN Sport.
Sure. Torakele, big match for the Proteas women on Wednesday.
Absolutely, John, and they'll play England in their World Cup semi-final. South Africa lost 2 matches in the round-robin stage, which featured batting collapses as they were bowled out for less than 100 runs. Tasman Britt says there'll be additional pressure on her and the other batters to put up a big score.
We do talk about being, aggressive and showing intent, but I think we misunderstand that or misinterpret it. I don't think necessarily showing intent or being aggressive is being reckless. A bad ball's a bad ball. You still got to put it away. So still clearing that inner ring if the ball's there, looking at the singles. I mean, we mustn't underestimate singles and twos. So yeah, I don't think it's necessary, just swinging when we say intent and being aggressive.
Temba Pavuma is fit again and will captain the Proteas in their 2-test series against India next month. Shukri Conrad has discussed whether he expects the ground staff in India to curate pitches that are tailor-made to their host strengths.
All we can do is cover all bases, really. The exciting thing now is that we've got really good spinners that can compete in these sort of conditions, and it'll always give us an advantage. So, yeah, that's a decision for them to make. We're not overly fussed about what we're and what they come up with, but again, we believe that we've covered all our bases.
Arne Slot admits he didn't see Liverpool's dip in form coming after they slipped to a 4th straight defeat. Their Premier League title defence already appears in tatters after they were beaten 3-2 at Brentford and are now 7 points behind leaders Arsenal.
Teams know which strategy to play against us. We are still, even today when we don't play well, able to score 2 goals and create more chances than only the 2 goals we've scored from open play. But you cannot even compete, which we don't do at the moment. We don't compete up there because we simply concede too many goals. And that is not something I only look at our defense, because that's something we do with 11 players together.
Jerome Boateng has had his coaching internship at Bayern Munich called off after fans protested against his involvement. Their protest came after he was found guilty of bodily harm against a former partner, and while he avoided jail, he was given a suspended fine and a warning. He was lined up to shadow manager Vincent Kompany, but Bayern have now pulled out to protect the club's reputation and will switch attention to other pursuits. And Adrian Wildschut broke another South African record as he set a new national mark on his 21-kilometer debut. That's at the Valencia Half Marathon in Spain. He finished fifth in a time of 59 minutes and 13 seconds to take 23 seconds off the 5-year record that was set by Stephen Mugoga back in October 2020. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Let's get the latest from the roads. Karabo Charlie, good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. We still have those delays in the Tembisa area. Heading towards Pretoria, you can expect about a 30-minute delay on the R21 northbound. This is between the R25 Papsfontein off-ramp and Olifantsfontein Road. This is due to roadwork. So there's also bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Calvin area, N3 South, between the Bacloons Change and London Road, also due to roadworks. As a result, heading onto the N3, that's leaving Marlborough. There's traffic pressure on Marlborough Drive between the M1 and the N3. Bryanston, traffic sluggish. This is on the N1 southbound. Between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. In Polshof, also bumper-to-bumper traffic on Witkoppen Road between Main and Stonehaven, driving through the Joburg CBD. Expect about a 30-minute delay. M1 South between Killarney Bends and the Crown Interchange. And in Fountains, we're still dealing with that accident scene on Christina de Wit near Euphius, causing heavy delays all the way from the Fountains Circle. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
702 Drive. Well, I don't know about you, but I've certainly kept an eye on red meat prices, and they really have been pretty expensive for quite a while. One of the reasons for this is the problem we have in the country, and it's been going on for a while now, the difficulties that red meat producers are having dealing with foot and mouth disease. And this matter is now heading to court. The farmers are going to be taking action against the red meat and livestock primary cluster, the RMPC. They call themselves the Rooivleis Actie Group, I should say, and to talk about what they're going to court about, because they say that they actually contribute financially to various things in the industry, in the sector. One of that includes dealing with the potential threats, now an actual one, of foot and mouth disease. Lawyer who is acting for them is Anne Suhet Marks, who is head of litigation at VDM Incorporated, where she's also a director. Ms. Marks, welcome, and thanks very much for your time. What are you going to say to the court, and what are you hoping the court will do? Good afternoon.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for having me. John, VDM Incorporated represents the Red Meat Action Group, or like you correctly refer to in Afrikaans, Rooivleis Actie Group. And Red Meat Action Group represents a collective of South African livestock farmers, producers, and industry participants who have, over a long period, grown increasingly concerned about the lack of transparency and accountability within the red meat sector. Our members and our clients are contributing millions of rands annually through statutory levies, yet they have been left without clarity on how these funds are being used, who authorizes expenditure, and on what legal basis certain industry bodies claim to represent farmers nationally. What we are proceeding with is we have taken formal steps under the Promotion of Access to Information Act, also known as the PAIA Act, to obtain official records from key government entities. We need to understand that this is a lawful request because our clients are well within their right to request the information sought regarding how exactly these statutory levies are being, used and utilized, because they're supposed to be, and we've heard and we've been told the levies are to be used for the prevention and the monitoring and the traceability regarding foot and mouth diseases. But why, since the levies have been imposed, why have we had some of the most recent massive foot and mouth disease outbreaks in the country, which we don't understand. The levies are supposed to, be used to ring fence the disease. It's supposed to be used to stop it, to halt it, to at least have a bit of a lesser effect, which is currently not the case.
Might they not say in response, and I know I'm asking you to, look ahead to the court case, but I would have thought part of your preparation is to line up and consider what your adversaries are likely to say. They may well say there are certain things that need to happen that are not theirs to control. So, for example, availability of vaccines, that would have to come to some degree with government participation. Controlling movement of people and cattle, again, requires powers that, the red meat industry services doesn't necessarily have. How would you answer that if that's the response you get, which I think you probably will?
Yes, we are more than cognizant of the fact that the foot and mouth disease is a state-controlled disease. It is something that needs to be controlled by the state as well. But what we need to understand is RMIS, Red Meat Industry Services, like you've mentioned, made a proposal towards the state in April 2022, wherein they said, listen, give us these levies, impose the levies, we will use it for animal and public health constraints, market access, inclusive growth, sustainability of the red meat industry. And what's problematic is in the proposal that we have had, sight of, that proposal makes provision that they will be using the levies for including traceability, of cattle, to make sure that if a cow climbs onto a transporting vehicle from KwaZulu-Natal and it's brought to Gauteng, that all the necessary procedures are followed. However, what has been and what's been a big catalysator for this pending legal action that we're now pursuing is RMIS said in their proposal 3 years ago, we're going to use the levies for traceability purposes. They've now come forward to say we want to increase the levies because now we want to use it for traceability purposes. We're getting conflicting versions here. We are asking the necessary questions. We're asking the right questions. There's not something that needs to happen now. We're asking for audited statements. We're asking for proper reports on how the levies have been expended and utilized in the past years. And I mean, just to throw your hands up and say, oh, well, we can't give it to you, I'm not going to give it to you, my client is full within their right. If they're not going to give it to us, we will unfortunately have no alternative but to seek legal action, which I currently hold instruction on. So irrespective of what the responses are, in terms of the law, the formal processes that we are instituting, they need to give us answers. And if they're not giving us answers, we will have no alternative but to seek High Court intervention as well.
Thank you so much. And Suhet Marx, who is head of litigation and a director at VDM Incorporated. I mean, what's really interesting about court cases like this, obviously there's the matter at hand. They're the people who are bringing the action and they would look for certain remedies. But I think for the rest of us, this will reveal potentially very, very interesting things about the way the country is tackling foot and mouth disease. And of course, you might well say, well, what's that got to do with me? Well, when did you last try and have a braai? Prices are eye-watering, I think, and that's not just the smoke coming from the fire. So it's a case we'll follow with a great deal of interest. 9 minutes to 6.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, so we've still got some time, I think, to play you some music. We wanted to get that red meat story in. But yeah, one of the things when we look at playlists is there are always the songs that, well-known artists, people will recognize them. Maybe you have a party and the music's playing and most people will tap their feet or nod their heads or dance or whatever it is because they know the music. And then I'm sure there are moments where people say, oh, who's that? I haven't heard that one before. Who's that? I like that. And it's a lovely moment, I find, if you're playing music when people not only enjoy the fact that you've picked well and you're playing music they like, but also they say, you've introduced me to something new. So the question we thought we would ask you today, and Kabazela's in a moment, to share something from his playlist. Who's the least known but really excellent artist in your playlist? So, Jono, you're in. Who have you got for us?
Yeah, hi, John. So I actually discovered these guys on Yellowstone.
Okay.
The modern day Western story, right? And this band, the real band, was playing in that show in a bar. And I was like, wow, this is quite nice. I kind of like this music. And then Shazammed it, and then obviously discovered who they were. But I think if you had to go to, if I had to ask you or Karabo and say, have you heard of Whiskey Myers? You'd be like, who?
Yeah.
No clue.
No clue at all.
This is a song that we're going to play by them. It's Whiskey Myers, and the song's title is Stone. Really, really nice tune.
So is this a little bit of a one-song wonder, or did you, in getting into that song via watching Yellowstone, get to like more of their catalog?
Yeah, so there were 2 songs actually from that series that I discovered, and then I went down a little rabbit hole and found some of their stuff, and they've got some really nice other songs as well. Some of it not too great, but a lot of their songs are pretty decent. So I downloaded a few of their tracks onto my phone.
So here it is. I've never heard it before. I'm looking forward to hearing Stone by Whiskey Myers.
Well, the night is my companion, and the highway is my home. Got me seeking for one last beacon to every single place I roam. They say Jesus was a poor man. I guess I wish I had a little more him in me. Make it easier going on living. Heartache, misery.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Never heard them before. Stone by Whiskey Myers. So, what we're asking you to do, please, and we look forward to your doing it, is pick out something from your playlist, those artists that your friends haven't heard of, we won't have heard about on the show, perhaps the least known, but no less marvelous artist that's on your playlist. Start sharing now. We'll see if we can find it and share it with everybody else on the show. This is 702 Drive. It's 5 to 6.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
The work of Francesca Albanese has made her an enemy of those who advocate for Israel's right to wage a war on Gaza. The Italian human rights lawyer is facing a defamation suit from the Christian Friends of Israeli Communities and Christians for Israel USA, whose attorneys applied through the Justice Department to serve her with legal papers for a defamation suit they have launched against her in the United States. But Justice Minister Mameloko Kubai yesterday hastily sought to defuse a potential diplomatic debacle, saying she did not approve an application to serve Albanese and retracted the permission granted by a Justice Ministry official.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Wine Speak, you've heard it all before. Black currants, plums, vanilla. This year's Standard Bank WineX presents a voyage of discovery. Map your own route and let wine enrich the journey. WineX is brought to you by Standard Bank Private. It's the South African wine industry under one roof. Live a wealthier life with Standard Bank Private and WineX at Sandton Convention Centre, 29 to 31 October from 5 to 9 p.m. Tickets at Web Tickets. Enjoy responsibly. 18 and over. Visit winex.co.za.
Naked people are popular at Bry's because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums. They have more money for T-bone steaks. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Right, we're looking for hidden gems today on this Monday on 702 Drive. Those songs that are in your playlist, but by artists that are less well known. Togozani says this. Tori Kelly is a less known American artist. An example of her songs, Actress, Dear No One. No, Don't know Tori Kelly either. Let's hear it.
I like being independent, not so much of an investment. No one to tell me what to do. I like being by myself, don't gotta entertain anybody else. No one to answer to. But sometimes I just want somebody to hold, someone to give me the jacket when it's cold. Got that young love even when we're old. Yeah, sometimes
So just reading a little bit about Tori Kelly, American singer-songwriter, as you may have figured. She was on the 9th season of American Idol in 2010, signing with Capitol Records in 2013. So she's been around for a while and has actually won a couple of Grammys. Best Gospel Album and Best Gospel Performance Song. Let's get one more.
Hi guys, a band that I recently discovered is Black Heidi, a South African band, and their song I'm Fine. Thanks for a great show.
But I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm fine, oh, but I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm fine. I only shower 3 times a week and I'm always in bed even when I'm not sleeping. I nibble on my food, I don't actually eat. I try so hard but I don't succeed. But I'm fine, I try so hard to hide who I am so you won't know I'm a sham inside.
Wow, that's great. Dimpo Dorothy Black Heidi Mahuku, according to the internet. South African singer and songwriter, born and raised in Mahikeng, and she's come out with an album called Sunshine's Bright Shiny Beam. Wonderful title. I thought that was great. We'll have to do this again later. I want to get some more of these gems. I'm John Perlman. I hope you've been with us. Enjoyed being with us on 702 Drive. Have a great Monday. Good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Premier Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index 2025. Good evening on your Money Show tonight. Sean Summers on what still needs to happen for Pick n Pay to turn a profit as its sales grow strongly. The Mineral Resources Minister Gweda Mantashe says a Chrome export tax would only work as part of a package to restore our smelters. Ismail Mamoniat on our victory in getting off the Financial Action Task Force grey list, whether the private sector will ever operate a high-speed train from Messina to Cape Town, and from 7:30 tonight, how to make your money as a dog trainer and therapist. All of that to come, but first, the very latest Eyewitness News.
Good evening, I'm Zingisa Chirwa. A 38-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the murders of 2 young women in Mamelodi, west of Pretoria. Tsiamo and Baliseng Moramaga, aged 21 and 22, were found shot dead in Mamelodi East in the early hours of Sunday morning after a night out. Police have revealed that a third victim was also shot during the incident but survived and is receiving medical treatment. The suspect will appear in the Mamelodi Magistrate Court on Wednesday. Gauteng Police spokesperson Dinsoalo Sibego.
Joint team consisting of detectives from Gauteng Provincial Serious and Violence Crime Unit, Provincial Crime Intelligence,